Yo, man.
Hey, we back. We back again. Tag team back again. One, two, three, whatever,
It's
whatever. We
again.
back. Hello, everybody. We missed y'all. Welcome back to another episode of my Unsolicited Opinion podcast. In case you forgot who we are, I'm Joy. Got my girl Ty and my girl Allen. You guys. We so excited to talk about what we got to talk about
I know.
today. We had to get dressed for it. I got
Okay.
my
I give y'all a little
little
what? Little,
college sweatshirt,
Give me a little Argyle
little
sweater
throwback
vest.
to
come
the
on,
90s.
Argyle. Come
Sweater
on.
vest, Argyle.
Little
Okay,
clueless over
okay.
there. I see you.
Yes.
I need my stage glasses.
Okay.
Y'all, today is going to be a very fun conversation. At least I hope so, anyway. As we was getting ready for it, I was thinking to myself, girls gone wild, CIAA, bike week with a bike
Bike
rally,
week.
bike rally. What else?
Kappa Beach.
Black
Kappa
Beach. Yeah.
Beach. Black.
Yeah.
Yep.
All of the things, but the one that is the granddaddy of them all,
Yo,
the
granddaddy.
one that you can buy T-shirts for, still in the 2023, is Freak Nick.
Yes, girl.
Now we want to talk to you guys all about what we heard, maybe saw, about the Freaknik, because there's a documentary that's coming out, and some people are not happy about it. They say that the aunties are upset, and since we like on the cusp of the aunties generation, we're gonna talk to you from our 39, 40-year-old vantage point about what we think about the documentary, about what we think about the whole Freaknik culture. So, y'all, I literally just got here like 30 minutes ago off of a cruise ship, which I've been doing. How was your spring
Girl,
break?
oh, so you was embarked, girl.
How was your spring break? Now, my spring break wasn't no girls gone wild. It was loan officers gone wild. But it wasn't nothing too spicy. It won't be any documentaries, okay? The
Good.
revolution will not be televised.
You know what? It's so funny you say that because I feel like back then when it came to like Freaknik, I don't think the people back then knew. Of course, the internet wasn't as prevalent as it is today, but I don't think they would knew that this was gonna come back. To kind of like be relevant today. What they did in 19, the year everyone's talking about is 1994 because the documentary is going to be, I guess, focused on that year. But like, I don't think they thought, 20 years later, was that 20? No, that's 30 years later. I'm
Oh,
sorry.
girl, yeah. That's what
The
the
Now,
90s
90s
when
was
was
I
10
say
years
30
30
ago.
years
years
ago.
ago, I'm thinking the 70s, right?
No,
Right, exactly.
I'm telling you,
But
that's me all day. I think the 90s was 10 years ago. I don't care what
okay,
you
so I'm like, ooh, 20 years ago. But I don't think people thought that through back in '94. When you said when Tag Team 69 Boys, Uncle Luke and them was on the radio and they was out there
say.
doing their thing.
That's
You know what I
it.
mean? I don't think they thought, oh, I'm gonna be on the internet and it's gonna be a conversation, and then here go three chicks gonna be on here talking about what I did
Back in my
30 years ago.
day,
Okay.
Who knew back in my day was going to be the 90s? That is
mm,
crazy. That's so
I
crazy every
know.
time I think about that. But I haven't been doing anything. We weren't on spring break this week. We had spring break about 2 weeks ago. So, we just been doing business as usual around here. Glad to be back on a
Yeah,
Yeah.
Saturday
me
night.
too.
Welcome everybody to the My Unsolicited Opinion podcast. Do y'all want
Yes,
to see who we got
indeed.
in the chat so
Yes.
far?
Yeah,
Let's
yeah,
see
yeah,
who we
yeah.
got.
And y'all better participate. We want to hear all your stories,
We want to
all
know.
the stories that you
Or your
heard.
mama's story or your auntie and them
Yeah,
stories.
Okay, don't let me find out some of y'all mamas is in there. Or some of y'all aunties. Or y'all big cousins, because that's who I used to be looking up to, my big cousins. I wonder, hope some of these big cousins show up tonight. Let us know how it was, because we know y'all
Right.
up in there in the South.
all
We
of it.
got King in
Hey,
the chat.
King.
King says, you know too much about this. Who? Us? No, we do not. What are you talking about, King? We got,
Listen, let me
tell
just
it,
set the record straight.
tell it.
Um, uh, Freaknik officially ended in 1999. I was still in high school. I know nothing.
True,
Okay.
true. This is true. This is true. We heard tell of things about for Freaknik, but we were not
Okay.
participants, okay? But we know enough to know that I mean,
Baby.
if I could have stood on the sideline and watched it up real close and personal. I
You would have
definitely
traveled
would
for
have
that.
tried to do something like that. Yes,
Okay.
especially as HBCU grads, because y'all know we'd be looking for a good homecoming weekend. And so,
Whew.
Freak Nick was like, right along those lines.
Mm.
Mr. Key Terrell, Key up in here, he's the principal. He says, "What up, Doe? What up,
Hey,
Terrell?"
Mr. Key.
He is a supporter of the channel, good content creator. He's also giving
Mhm.
us the side eye. Okay, don't be in here, patrolling us, principling on us, if that's a word. It's not. But don't
Okay.
be like, judging already, Terrell. It's going to be a good stream.
Gonna be a good one.
Welcome to the My Unsolicited Opinion podcast. My sexy is strong says what? Evening, ladies.
Evening.
Hey,
Evening.
girl.
She's a strong supporter
HBCUs is
of a
in the building
channel.
We
tonight.
in here.
Yes, yes. We also got our girl Celeste in here. She says, "Hey y'all, hey girl,
Hey, Celeste.
are y'all ready for this one? Are y'all ready for this one? We see y'all already lighting this chat up. We like it. We love to see it. Let's talk about it, y'all. Oh wait. One more. I hear trucking. Hank Hank. He's I do. He says,
Ooh.
Ty, what year you graduated? Up.
You was gonna pull that one. I didn't know you was gonna pull that one up, sis, but
Mm.
he asking and that no.
I mean,
No.
I'm
We
2001.
what year did we graduate from high school, ladies?
I
on
graduated
one.
2001.
2001. It
2001.
was
That's the year.
2001. It was lit.
Exactly.
We were number one in the what is it, millennium?
In the
Millennial,
millennium. We were the
yeah.
first
Number one, is
class
that
of
what
the
they said? One in the
millennium.
class?
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Nationwide. Y'all already know. Y'all already know. We
Hmm.
on different coasts
We
and we
was the
all was on
first.
the
You remember
same
everything used to
page.
be silver. Everything was like a
Yes.
platinum silver,
Number
like
one.
everything.
Platinum, that was the thing.
That
Yeah.
was the
With the rims.
thing.
Don't forget the spinning.
Yes.
Them spree
They
wells.
gave us, oh yes, and the braids. And you see
Yeah.
our ladies rocking the braids tonight. I did get my natural though. I'm wearing my natural. It supports, because in the
Okay.
90s, they was starting to weave it up, sandling it up. Shout out to O'Shea Do Jackson. But we
Oh,
weaving it
weaving
up.
sandals.
Weaving it up, sandling it up on at a Freaknik wearing our sandals and our weaves. But anyway, y'all want to take it back over to
Hmm.
y'all.
When
Thank
real
y'all.
bodies was in style.
What nice slim bodies, okay?
All right,
Hmm.
all right. So what we have here, because a lot of people, I didn't realize that a lot of people didn't really know too much about Freaknik, and I don't know, maybe because it's just like age. It was really like a short span. It was only around what was it, like 15 years or so. And a lot of people don't know where it originated from. I think I seen a video today, and someone was like, well, "What do you expect from something called Freak Nick?" Right? And I'm like, "Well, I don't think you really understand where that actually came from, like the actual name of it. It wasn't necessarily like freaky like we think of it, right? Where doing all of okay. The whole cause the night baby. It wasn't that, right? It was not that. It actually originated from a song, which was actually a dance called the Freak, early 80s, and it was not anything like y'all think it
Like
was,
Rick
right?
James, like Super Freak.
Nah, there was it
Oh.
was
What was this like? How you do it? Wait a minute now.
uh, uh, oh my god!
It
I
was
tell
a
you what, I
dance.
don't listen. I don't want to be a liar. What I have here though is I'm gonna pull up this video that kind of gives us a good synopsis. We're gonna stop. It's about a 10-minute video, but we're gonna stop it. We're gonna talk about it. We want to solicit your opinions from it, the video, and just how they kind of explain the whole. I want to say this is like one of like the first Black like festival. It's festival season. All these festivals are coming up, concerts and stuff like that, and they even tried to bring Freaknik back a few years ago. It was a big concert, and everything, but it was like I think the good thing about this festival was it was, or whatever you want to call this spring break, it was started by HBCU students in the AUC. So we're talking about Clark Atlanta, Spelman, Morehouse, in that area in Atlanta, and it really started off as a picnic. Like it started off as a way to get people who couldn't go on spring break, and something for them to do that while they were still here. But I'm not gonna keep talking about it. I'm just gonna let you guys hear it for yourself. And we'll get started on this video, and let me know. Give me a thumbs up, y'all, if you can hear it. Let's see.
Let's set the scene. Atlanta, Georgia, 1995. The Braves that won the World Series, Marta's fare was $1.50. Powerball tickets went on sale for the first time in Georgia, and Andre 3000 let the world know that the South got something to say. And in Atlanta, 1995 also marked the beginning of the end of the phenomenon known as Freaknik. During a time where news spread through the word of mouth rather than social media, and there were no camera phones, only camcorders, Black students of the Atlanta University Center, or the AUC, curated one of the biggest, raunchiest, most out-of-control spring break festivals the culture has seen to this day. Think hundreds of thousands of Black people cruising through the gridlocked streets of Atlanta in the flyest cars with the best sound system blasting Goody Mob, 2 Live Crew, and Adina Howard. Killer Mike described it as an unorganized Mardi Gras of sorts that was all about showing your car, your girls showing off their bodies, and dudes showing their gold. Think rump shaking, catcalling, drinking, dancing, big college fun. It was way more than a party. It took over the entire city. Freaknik was larger than life, but it didn't start out that way. Here's what happened to Freaknik.
I can't hear you, Ty.
My bad. I'm sorry. I keep muting myself. What do y'all think so far? Any memories coming back to you? What y'all think about Freaknik? Any I think he pulled out the year 1995. But when I saw that, I mean, it took me back to 1995. Just the hair, the clothes,
Yes.
he was calling out song Rump Shaker. Y'all know all I want to do is remember Zoom Zoom.
Oh man.
All of those things. I just remember those songs on the radio. I remember my mama and them with their hair done, you know what I mean? Just like
The
that.
girls
Me wanting
stacked
to
up
line
on the
dance.
side.
Okay. With the pump
Yes.
it up.
Yeah, pump it up. Oh, that
The
was
smell of
the
Pump It Up.
original Gorilla Glue. The pump it
Right.
up.
And I remember guys, I mean, they used to wear the headbands. I remember
Multicolored
Caterpillars.
do-rags. The
Oh,
do-rag. You gotta
what a
go with the
time to be
outfit.
alive.
Celeste said, what? The French
The
roll,
French
baby.
rolls
The
and
Yes.
French
waterhawk girls.
roll. Yes.
Yes.
Okay. I
Listen, I'm
remember
gonna say if you were not alive during the 90s, and I'm not talking about you got in 1999. I'm talking about you were fully aware of your surroundings
right.
and were able to form memories.
Hmm.
If you missed the 90s, you missed it. I don't know what you got to look forward to. I don't,
Baby, I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know what to tell you because the 90s was popping. And I was only like, what, 10 ish? 10,
Exactly.
what was I, 7 to
Something,
17, somewhere in
something like
there?
that. You stop putting
It
numbers
was
on it. We
great.
already told them what year we graduated.
It was great. I loved it. I miss the
Uh,
90s every day. Finger
my
wave.
sexy Sean says, not pump it up. Yes, pump it up. Look, you gotta get them freeze curls. Them curls had to stay in place.
Yes.
You get
Terrell
the stiff
says,
neck, you get your hair done, you be like, huh, girl?
and the Tootsie Roll. Yes.
Yeah, 6'9"
The
boy Tootsie
butterfly.
Roll.
That's all. Let me see you. Yes.
We
All
used to
right,
go
I
to
ain't
the
gonna hold
skating
y'all.
rink because we were too young to go to clubs. So we would go to the skating rink,
The
and the
skating
skating
rink
rink
was
would
our
turn into like
club.
the club, and they would go, and the girls would be all hunching the boys like in the little corners, and then security would come over with you can't be,
With
you
they
gotta
flash.
skate, and everybody
Listen,
starts
if you
scattering.
if you went to the skating ring, if you went to the skating ring when you were a teenager and that was your quote unquote club, go ahead and put a one in the chat.
Oh
Okay, because
boy.
I think the
Yes.
skating ring, especially in our community, is like that is like a rite of like a rite of passage. Like everybody was in a skating ring. If Ed put a two in the chat, if you was hunching on a wall trying to trying to get your dance on at the skating ring.
Don't tell on yourself.
Mm-mm.
Tell on yourself.
Boy, 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 boy.
Okay.
Y'all know, and then they had a lights out. Y'all remember the airbrush?
Yes, girl. Your
Yes.
And it was
fingernails.
kind of like
Yes.
glow in the dark a
I
little
don't
bit
even
under
put
the
nails
light.
done because
I'm
I need my
telling
nails
you.
done. Oh,
Mm,
Lord. Okay. All right. Let me get back. Let's get back. Let's get back, y'all.
good old days.
In 1983, the AUC, not unlike other Black colleges, was home to different state clubs that included students with coming home states. 6 members of the Washington, D.C. Metro Club, including then Spelman College freshman Sharon Toomer, effectively came together to plan the first ever Freaknik. It was a small picnic for students who were stuck on campus during spring break. One of the organizers, Rico Brown, combined free with picnic to get Freaknik, inspired by the popular dance, the Freak. Hosted no more than 60 students, the first Freaknik was held in Piedmont Park, which at the time was basically a shabby lot with a picnic area. Toomer recalls the picnic being centered around camaraderie, party, and music. Freaknik became an annual event, and each year it grew. Atlanta became the place to be for Black college spring break. With the mention in Spike Lee's 1988 film, School Days, Freaknik started to gain national attention. Eventually, students from all over the country were road tripping to Atlanta for the festivities. They appreciated Atlanta for having a space enriched with Black culture for students to kick back and let go of their scholarly responsibilities. Over the years,
All right, y'all. All right, all right. So now we've kind of figured out where it started from, right? So I want to say DC in the building because this is a young lady here. I guess she was from DC, and one of the reasons why they kind of formed this picnic was for those students who, when you go to school, you don't have any money to go back home for that week of spring break, so you stay here at school, right? Maybe it's not because you don't have any money, maybe you just don't have anywhere to go, right? And so they formed like a little picnic, and they would just get together, music, friends, food, while school was out. I feel like the origins of it is so like innocent, like you know what I mean? Like when you go anything to like 1999,
Yeah.
it was just like college students wanting to have a place to go to when they don't have a place to go to.
Sounds
Because
like
I
how
don't know.
Facebook started too. Just for college kids.
Oh,
Okay, so we're gonna get into this because we're gonna get into it because I think I brought up on Mr. Key's stream the other day about like a talented 10, but we'll get in. We'll get into it. But that's where it started from. It was innocent, and the song. The reason why it was called Freaknik was freak out.
oh,
She
okay.
freak out. That's the song, and it was a dance. Y'all, that was by come on somebody, because that's not my era. So
That was
y'all
way.
know who it is. Just put it in the comments, put it in the chat when y'all know who sang that song. Okay, very 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 famous song at the time, and that's why it was called. The dance was called like I guess the freak or whatever. Put it together with picnic. Combine it. You got Freaknik. Right. It was not about big booty hoes hump with it. Okay. It was. It was not about that.
I'm a
But that's the
barefoot
thing. That's
dance.
that's kind of like the beginning of the evolution of that music, right? Because, and I think we
Right.
talked about it here before. Things used to be significantly more subtle. Like you
Right.
had to like understand the way that the English language worked, using metaphors and figurative language, and you wouldn't just go out and I ain't slob on my knob like, oh my goodness.
Like what?
Corn on the cob.
They
What?
ain't check in with me. I don't know why y'all know those lyrics.
I don't either. What? Who?
Not you, good wholesome women.
Right.
not, not y'all. But that's I always think about that because I've watched the documentary prior to on Freaknik. It was MTV had did one before, like right in the height of the demise of it.
Okay.
It was a couple of ones I've seen prior to that. I've had people that I've known have gone, and it's just so sometimes it's heartbreaking to see something start off so innocent, right? Just for college students to just have a place to go when they don't have a place to go, and to turn into something so like that just became like this. I mean, listen, Lil Kim said it. You always know I like to quote Lil Kim. You want a cheap chick, you better go down to Freaknik, okay? So so I mean, she said it,
My God.
and that was like towards the demise, but it's so sad because that young lady, of course she's older now, just come she went to Spelman, and she was from DC, and she had nowhere to go. She was like, yo, let's just get together, we all here, let's make it a thing. And so we'll keep it going, we'll keep it moving. Y'all let us know what y'all think about somebody said, hold up now, hold on, somebody said they went to Freaknik in 96.
Oh, we coming back to you. You stay right where you at. We're
Blue
gonna bring
Rocky,
you up
yeah,
and
we
we're gonna
coming.
we gonna hear your story. We want to know
Okay.
what
Yes,
you
sir.
saw.
Yes,
Make me
sir.
feel like I was there. Because I was a
Okay.
child.
I want him to come up too, like or he or she. But Blue Rock Seven said, okay, let's get this started. Let's get this back, y'all.
Freaknik moved from park to accommodate the growing number of attendees. The name Freaknik was then trademarked, and officially spelling became Freaknik with a K instead of a C. Freaknik was no longer an intimate picnic. It was now a huge college festival. As the 90s approached and Freaknik opened the doors to non-AUC students and non-students altogether, the chaos that followed would ultimately end Freaknik for good. 1993 was the year things got real. Over 100,000 students, locals, and folks just looking for a good time found themselves in the heart of Atlanta. Freaknik had expanded into weekends of parties, concerts, and other events around the city. But the real party was in the streets. Traffic got so bad that the roads became a parking lot and a dance floor. What they called cruising was some people's favorite part of Freaknik. Getting out of your car in traffic to talk to people, dance, and party.
Y'all ever heard of parking lot pimping?
Yeah, so back in the 90s in Charlotte, a lot of the, again, I guess it's still the same time frame. We
Mm.
had a park. It was Hornets Nest Park, and it was on Beatty Ford Road, which is a major thoroughfare like on the west side. So it's a concentrated black area, and people would ride up on Sundays, and they would just go and they would cruise on Sundays. And it got to the point where the police were like, "The neighbors hate you, we hate you, we gonna end all of this. Like, the music is too loud, like you causing traffic problems," and they shut it down. So I mean, I would imagine that that was just a part of just the 90s, culture.
Yeah,
Somebody
cruising,
who was,
right? Parking lot
18
pimping.
and up. Yeah.
It was. I would say that. I would say that is probably. I mean, I know they were cruising and stuff back in the days. I mean, I think my mama got a story or two. Cruising. Or whatever. But like, just me just coming up in the 90s. I remember like a lot of the music and a lot of like people wanted to hear it in their cars. They wanted that bass. They wanted them
Yes.
subwoofers and whatever. I remember looking at what was the video where the car was, it was a West Coast video, like
Snoop Dogg
it
on
was
the hot.
probably a Snoop, Dr. Dre.
Oh
Yeah.
Hmm.
yeah.
Yeah, and it was,
Okay,
yeah.
that was the thing. It was like you got to show off your car, you showing off the rims, you showing off whatever, and you showing off the music that came out.
The
Like
candy paint.
okay, that candy paint, like you showing off whatever. I don't know what the size of the woof is supposed to be. So the men in the chat, if you in the chat, man, I don't know. You got to let me know. I'm not a car
Right.
person, but I know a certain size subwoofer or whatever is gonna give you that boom.
The
Make the
trunks
trunk
rattle.
rattle.
But you
Yes.
know what? They can't hear now. They 41, 42, and they can't hear.
Not they deaf, not their eardrums
That's
blown out.
it. That's
Some
what
on
happened.
50.
Your mama
But
said
back to
that's what
freak.
was gonna happen.
Well, back to Freaknik, one of the things that he said in here in this video was how it transformed from it being just college students and then incorporating some of non-college students, maybe local people, local AT aliens in the area, and how once they done that, it kind of like grew and morphed into what it became at the height, at the peak of it, right? So that's when you start getting you know the sub, because I don't know how many college students y'all know that was sitting on 20 whatever 22 24 or
All
whatever
of
they
them gonna
spent
get the
10.
refund checks.
For sure. I
But
think they had like they was rolling like 20s and 22s back then.
Now, when
That
we
was
was in school, y'all remember rent and roll?
what's that?
Rent and roll. You could rent rims. Like
oh
you
child,
go get the
that's some
tires
real.
Uh-uh.
and you
We
could
probably
rent
still do that
them.
though.
Yeah. So it's like a buy here, pay here for furniture type thing, but it was just for
Hmm.
your rims.
For the rent,
Wow.
yeah, I can see that. I can see that being a thing. I can see that being a thing. But like, so now we have college students. I don't want to say intermingling or mixing, but now we have the local area in there. In Atlanta, y'all know Atlanta is a black, like Atlanta is a black city. It started that way. That's what it is, right? So it is
Rosie.
a epicenter of just culture, right? Especially down south culture. Just like he pulled up there, you had Outkast back then, doing a thing, booty bass music. So y'all know So Dev had them bass mixtapes back in the day. Y'all heard My Boo
Oh,
and
we was rolling with Master P buddy down here in
I know y'all
Atlanta.
were, and the
That
boo.
was
I
Okay.
know
my
y'all remember.
song.
I know y'all, but
At
y'all remember
400
My
degrees.
Boo. Y'all
Yes.
remember all them. This and that. 6 9.
Ooh,
I mean,
yes. Oh, I
all
don't
of that, right? That was a movement. Now,
I
if
got my
you
Argyle
above the
sweater on. I
Mason
forgot.
Dixon, if you lived above the Mason Dixon, you may not been able to get like ingratiated into that type of music. But you heard 95 South, you heard Whoop That Is, you heard Tootsie Roll, you done heard Uncle Luke, you done heard that stuff. But if you live down south, if you
Ru-
live below that Mason Dixon line, then you heard way more than that. And that music used to get, they say raunchy, that music used to get raunchy.
Ooh, yes.
Okay? Not ooh, yes. Natasha, not ooh, yes.
Who? I told
It
y'all the
did.
last stream. I
I
could not
mean, I
wait to
mean,
get to
Uncle
high
Luke
school.
was the tip of the iceberg for some of that stuff. That y'all like, if you did not know, if you weren't like in that, if you wasn't in that, then you didn't know. Like he was like the tip of the iceberg. It's the underground bass music heads that know, like, whoo, it used to get crazy. Okay.
I think that's where a lot of the baby mamas came from too.
Oh no, you didn't. You mean to say
They
that's
was
where the
they
baby
was
mamas came?
grown. They was grown back then. You know they were grown. Your boy
I'm
R.
gonna
Kelly,
leave.
shout out to him. He was in the
Right.
90s, early 90s, born into the 90s. Is that the first
Going
album?
into that's the aura.
Okay, but anyway, go ahead, Ty. I'm sorry.
Okay, but so let's talk about it. It's been times that they've always said, I don't know about around y'all campus when you were in school or whatever, but I know sometimes around Howard, it was always this, I don't want to say rivalry, but it was always this distinction between Howard students and the locals, right? It was always like, and even let's just talk about it in school days. Y'all remember the scene where they went out to the KFC and it had the interaction with Samuel L. Jackson, who is like Morehouse alum. I'm gonna let y'all know that. So just so y'all know, so y'all get a feel of it. But like it was that the college students versus like the locals, right? And actually school days took place in the AUC. It supposed to took place in Atlanta, so to speak. That's where Spike Lee got his influence from for school days, because Spike Lee is a alum of Morehouse as well. So I mean, did y'all have that kind of like distinction between in around your HBCUs?
I don't remember that. I would go on a limb to absolutely say that, it was we over here, y'all over there. I remember one of the biggest things that I remember hearing somebody say, like when I was a freshman or sophomore, they were like, thugs don't go to college. There are no thugs in college. And so with that being said, it kind of shaped the idea that, oh, well, if something goes wrong at a party, it must not be one of us because we would never, bring out
Mm,
weapons or, intentionally start something or commit. You know what I mean? It set a baseline of the type of behavior that you would expect from someone that was enrolled in a full-time university. They got to get up for class 8 o'clock in the morning.
right,
We move a little differently, right? So
right,
the
right.
idea of even who's selling the or whatever.
Hmm.
That's you might have had that a little yang yang yang, but it wasn't gonna be nothing like Tariq on Power. You know what I mean? Like because you don't have that. You don't. I think that idea creates some sort of divide of I'm up here, you down here,
Okay.
or you can't sit with us, or I'm different than you are in some capacity. But I absolutely remember somebody said, it was like, Joy, it ain't no thugs in college. Like it just doesn't happen.
You can't tell them. You couldn't tell them boys that though.
Okay, because the college boys definitely
What
thought
about
they
you,
were thugs.
Nastasha?
Oh yeah. Well, it was a little bit. I agree with Joy. Like, if it's a party and something is going on, or if there's something happening on campus, somebody gets robbed or something like that, they assume that it's the
Assume.
people out, from outside. They're not these college boys and girls, nice professional, wannabes. Not that you don't know where they came from, but
Right,
because they
right,
do go
right.
to college, regardless of what the rumor is.
I thought
The
that you can't
thugs do.
tell them
They
that.
they go to college now. They do. They be up in there and they do what they do outside in the streets. They do it in the dorm room as well. Like doing
Yeah.
hair, selling their merchandise. I say it like that. All that kind of stuff is going on in
Going
on campus
testing out their pharmacy skills.
already. And some of them are, Born chemistrists. They know how to do the chemists.
Born
They're the
chemist.
chemists. Yes. Yes.
Okay. So and I think this kind of like just bring it back to Freaknik. I think this is where a lot of people said this is where things kind of like got out of control when more local local area was more involved in that, right? When you start to get more influence from outside of the AUC or a lot just I don't want to say AUC because it grew to different HBCUs. If you went to Howard, Southern, you went to A&T, I think Joy, you sent that A&T throwback from Freaknik,
That
right?
dude, yeah, he had his
Right.
whole like,
That
camcorder up
camcorder
here,
sitting on,
and then
but it was
shouted out Aggie Pride.
if you were black and you were in college at that during that time period, you would be going to Freaknik, right? That's where you would go. And so I think a lot of times they attribute that. I don't know, I think it has a lot to do with it. A lot of outside influence, of course, kind of like steered it, whether it was music, whether it was, you know, the locals or whatever have you. I think a lot of it, I think when you have so many black people in one area, it's going to attract more black people, right? It's always like, oh, that's the new spot, whether it was Freaknik, Bike Week, Kappa Cool Out, all of that, you were going to attract black people in the nation. We are a small community, 13% of the population. Okay. We are a small community. So if something is popping in Atlanta, if it's popping off in Wyoming, where they saying nope, all the black people, it's just gonna happen.
Yeah.
And we didn't need the internet to get that out. We didn't
Okay,
need it.
I got a question.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that the influence of quote unquote outsiders is because like, oh, it's me and my two roommates. Oh, and my roommate's sister wanna come. And then it becomes, okay, my roommate's sister and my cousin. Okay, now they gonna bring a couple of people. Or and it just kind of naturally happens. Or do you think it's something that is like, oh, well, we getting ready to go just because it sounds like it's gonna be a good time.
I think
Just
it's a little bit of
random
both.
people.
Natasha, what you think? I think it's all of the things. And I always go back because we think about the schools, that we went to. A&T, Howard, Southern, right? These schools are not just local community schools. These are schools internationally known. So you're getting people not just from all over the nation, but you're getting them from all over the world, right? To come to these schools. And I say a lot of people just, we all got for the most part, we all got the same skin color, but our schools are one of like some of the most diverse schools when it comes to like different cultures, right? That's like coming in one place, like culturally diverse versus, I don't know, maybe a PWI or something like that. But I just think it's all of that. I think it's if I'm from North Carolina and I go to A&T, right? And my sister and my cousin them live down the road and I'm about to go to a party, an A&T party. I know like my sister, my cousin and them, and I know that party is lit. They gonna go. They've been going with me since high school, so why they can't, you know what I mean?
And my little sisters was coming when I went to Southern. They went to Southern too. We're a Southern
Okay.
family, okay. But when I was in college, my sisters like they came down for like homecoming
Mm-hmm.
weekend. They would come like during the summers, so they had already like had been immersed into the whole college, the whole atmosphere. So it's like I'm going through this, so they might come too. And of course, they
Right.
go back home. They in high school. They like, yeah, I'm going to Southern with my sisters.
College parties.
Okay, so now they want to come. So it's all that kind of stuff. So I think it's a little bit of all of it.
Mm-hmm.
One thing that frustrates me, and I'm sure, because you all go to, really popular, have gone to really popular HBCUs, is, at the greatest homecoming on earth.
Girl, y'all just started
We
that like 2 years ago. Oh my God.
That's hilarious, Joy.
I'm sorry. My bad. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
at the greatest homecoming on earth. One thing that I it annoys me to no end is to hear somebody be like, Aggie Pride, I'm going to G-Ho, and they didn't graduate. That's almost like, to me, and I'm dead serious when I say this. I earned that. You know what I mean? Like
You earn G-Ho?
I earned it. Like, why are you here? What do you want? Like, you know what I mean? Like, what?
I would
Go.
say
They
this.
might just
I
be
liken
fans.
that
They probably
to
fans, you know.
It's
I,
like if you didn't go through the things to get to the place.
you ever seen some Alabama University, what's it, University of Alabama, whatever, Roll Tide fans?
Yeah.
Roll Tide. Yeah,
I would
yeah.
say about 80% of them did not go. Is it the University of Alabama or Alabama? They did not
It's
go to
at
the
Yeah.
University
University
of
of
It
Alabama.
Alabama.
just frustrates me. It annoys me so
Some
bad
Tar Heel
because
fans.
it feels like like homecoming is like ain't none of y'all go to this school. What's going on? I
They
don't
want
know.
to
It
be
just is
adjacent.
something. It just annoys
Yeah,
me.
adores you.
I wanted to just be us. It's supposed to be like a family reunion. Like who are y'all people? Like
Joy said can't sit with us.
no, go on
See,
somewhere.
thank you.
No.
But you know what? Here's the thing, Joy, because we got back to, so we were talking about that separation between locals and students, and then you have like, you know, alumni versus what's considered alumni, and
Oh, girl, I
it's
just
so
learned
many
about that too.
different like tiers and sections, sectionalities when it comes to that when
Wait, what about that? I'm sorry.
Alumni, you don't have to graduate. You just gotta attend to
right.
be
Oh,
considered alumni.
what's the
Right.
definition? Okay, anyway. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
That whole thing is like when we try, you start to distinguish, who can. Because listen, if you come around me and you say HU, I'm gonna give the proper response, and then I'm thinking that you went to the real HU Howard University, right? And I don't lie. Sometimes when I'm like, oh no, I don't know. I just know the what's the name because you heard it. Maybe you heard Diddy say it, or maybe you heard Felicia Rashad say it, or maybe you heard Debbie Allen, or maybe you heard. Like I'm not gonna sit here and run down all all of our alumni,
That's
but
fine.
it's kind of like, oh, okay, cool. I appreciate the love, but I associated it with saying with like when people say Roll Tide, if you a Tar Heel fan, you a UNC Chapel Hill, you basketball fan of at least. Do
Yeah.
any of these like
But it's
powerhouse
like, what are
sports
you a
teams?
fan of, right? You're a fan of the sports, right? That
Right.
is different than being a groupie for a school.
Let them people get
Groupie.
that money. You know they say HBCU alumni don't pay their dues. So let them folks get it.
Yeah, girl. They,
No.
Let them be let them be
them
fake.
endowments, girl. Them endowments. We getting better though. Make sure y'all donate back to your schools. All right. But I kind of liken it to that. I understand. Like I said, if somebody said HU and I say that, I'm like, oh, but yeah, you graduated. Like, oh, nah, I heard Diddy say it. I'm gonna be like, okay, that's cool.
Mm-mm.
If he, then I'm be like, then I'm gonna go in my Howie and like somebody just said HU and then I don't know. No, I'm playing. No, I'm not. All right. We're gonna keep the video going. Getting back to Freaknik. Oh, hold on, y'all. Sorry, I'm gonna get this together, y'all. I'm the DJ is going to get it together.
Rapper Bun B recalled his experience to Complex. It was crazy for me because we ended up being stuck in traffic on the freeway. The freeway and the exits was at a standstill. So I got out of the car and literally walked down the freeway, down the exit ramp and into downtown in order to get to the hotel and secure. When I got out the car, people were drinking and dancing because everybody was there to party. They were pumped up and ready to go, but they couldn't get to the party. So they were like, fuck it, we're going to the party right here and right now. To a carefree college student, it was what we would call today lit. But to business owners and residents with places to be, it was a nightmare. There were many reports of locals missing prom, weddings, and even funerals because of the intense traffic. As complaints of rowdy behavior grew, so did the divide between pro and anti-Freaknik residents. At the time, then City Councilman Bill Campbell defended the students' right to party, stating that with better policing and planning, we can certainly welcome them back. The future mayor would also find himself in the middle of racial tensions as most of the complaints were from white business owners and residents.
All right, y'all. So now it's starting to get to be a problem. It's starting to get to be a problem. Now we got everybody come. We got the locals. We got the internationals. We got the nationals. We got the students here, the students there, the students everywhere. And y'all see the pictures. You seen the traffic. You seen the rowdy. You get out the car. You stuck in traffic. You stuck in traffic. You get out the car. Somebody got 69 boys playing, and all of a sudden, they at the red light twerking on them headlights.
That sound like High
What?
Point Road in Greensboro.
Look at them girls and dancing to
Honey,
the
I'm gonna
song.
tell y'all, we've been stuck in traffic, and I ain't gonna tell y'all how many places I done got out to go have to use the bathroom. I'd be like, let me.
Oh.
It's a cemetery, right? Like, honey,
I thought you said
I
you was
remember this
popping on a
one time.
rim.
I thought she was going to say she about to get on the hood.
That's what I was like, Joy?
I had to go. Like, listen, when it's traffic and it's wall to wall, you do some things. I remember this one time, my son was an infant, and it was a diaper in the back. I was like, "Thank you, Jesus." I had to, I had to use what I had.
Okay, so back to
I
Freaknik
had to
because I don't
use
want
what I
my own
had,
business.
okay? And it was because it was so many.
so, so we're going to get,
So
I don't even want to do you like that.
Terrell says, not picking
Listen,
on the
it
dead
was
homies, not pouring one out for the homies.
it
Rest
was
in
so
peace.
many people. I mean, we were stuck. Like, so I think
Right, right.
I say all that to say, I think everybody has had some kind of experience where it's like, oh, this concert started 2 hours ago. What?
So we just
You know,
gonna
like
have the
how am
concert
I
right
still
here.
in my car? You know what I mean? Or whatever the thing was when you go to these large events like that. And like I said, especially when you've been drinking a little bit, you gotta go when you gotta go. I'm
But
just saying.
they was getting out because they were partying. So like you said, the concert started 2 hours ago. We
Yeah.
in traffic. You know what? Throw his album on. Put the tape in the deck. CD if you had
Yes.
95 CD if you had a little bit.
Oh,
The
yes.
men still ain't tell me. Did they tell me about the radio in the car yet? They ain't said that yet. But
Terrell said they had
and we just
20
gonna
of them.
play the album and we just gonna have our party right here because we ain't going nowhere. Ain't nobody moving because we parking lot pimping. We trying to show it
Mhm.
off, right? And so that happened a lot where people were missing funerals, proms, weddings, like all of that. Like,
See?
listen. Am I gonna plan my wedding during Freaknik in Atlanta
Like, why? Why would you do that?
at this time? Like,
Why would you do that? It's already too
why?
hot. It's too hot anyway.
I, okay. But I guess a lot of people probably look. Here go TLA in the chat. I know TLA didn't probably witness
Come on.
a freak nick or two.
He said,
Got
welcome to the
to.
leader turn. He says, I remember talking to a girl who was wearing a belt as a
I'm not doing
bra.
this with
It
him.
was wild down here. It was wild.
You
It
need
was
TLA to come
wild.
up and give us some firsthand like accounts.
Yes. Were they
Cause what he
percolating?
was probably a college student then.
Yeah, about
Not
40
unless he
something.
was out there with them bulldogs doing something else.
Mm.
You know.
Yeah.
The flagship university of Georgia. Not unless he was doing on
Every
they
now and
swing.
then, in Louisiana, they over there at LSU, number one party school in the state. But they come on to the southern side.
Cause they know. You
They
know
come
who
on
come
over
there.
there.
They be like, nah, I mean that party cool, kegs, beer, that's all good.
Right,
But when you
chugging.
chugging the beer, little beer pong. But when you want that liquor,
What you got on my 40, homie? What you
they
got on
came
it?
to the other side. It was like, oh. But no, like I'm just just getting back to Freaknik, like just the traffic, just all these people just like swarmed Atlanta in the 90s, right? Just swarmed them. What they say in the chat though, in Allen, before we get back to the
We
video.
already heard from our dear guy here, and welcome to the My Unsolicited Opinion podcast. If we want to go back up a little bit, the condemned, he says, y'all was at Freaknik getting crunk. Let me get this Hulu subscription. I don't think it's out yet.
Not
I don't think it's
y'all.
out yet. And y'all was not at Freaknik. Y'all was not old
Not
enough.
y'all. I
Y'all was
was in
looking
my
at Big Cuz and them,
yep.
you know.
Y'all was in her books. I was
Yes,
reading, studying
yes.
to get to college.
I was on my way though, ready on my way.
Woo.
I'm like, oh, how can I? My mom was like, don't even think about it. But anyway, yes, Lisa, the housewife, she says, I heard tales of Freaknik, but it was done before I graduated from high school. But my older
Exactly.
cousins have tales. We all, just listening, little girls and boys, hoping and
Okay.
wishing and
Hey,
praying.
Lisa.
Can I wear my little short shorts for 4th of July, Mom?
Your
Getting
little
ready
Daisy
for Freaknik. And
Dukes.
she's like, no, you cannot. No, you cannot.
No,
When we
you
talk
can't.
about the tennis skirts and the K Swiss, you wear
Not the
those,
That.
little girls with them
okay?
Days of Duke song.
I wanted to wear some Daisy
Mm.
Dukes that was like raveled on the end, like a little tatty.
Ooh.
I wanted those so bad, and I wanted some crop tops. But y'all see me in the archive, so that's what
Okay.
I was getting. They were hating on me at home. Yes, Terrell says they won't fight the outsiders. Unfortunately, they won't fight in the club if they got to pay $50 to $100 in the
Lies.
club.
That ain't true.
That's what he say
Mm.
now.
That
That's
ain't
what he
true.
had said. My sexy is strong. She says TLA got stories. Somebody who was at Blue
I know
Block.
TLA got stories. He
They
got
said what?
to.
Who said that? Blue Block said they was there at 96.
Oh
Yeah,
no,
We
we,
gotta
we
yeah.
want to hear y'all stories. Like
we
we
wanna
gonna have
know.
y'all come up
We gonna drop
sharing
the
and
link.
sharing. I
We
just
gonna
told
Yes.
y'all
drop
I
the
peed
link.
in a diaper. So y'all, we're family here. Y'all gonna
You gonna
tell
Right.
me
keep saying
something.
that?
Right.
You gonna
Yes.
keep
I'm
saying
leaving
that?
here with something. Like,
TLA say, man, it was amazing down here, but the traffic was insane.
I bet.
Yes. They was like, I'm gonna be up. What? Yes. Lisa says what? Trying to get to the Coliseum to the show.
now,
What?
Lisa, are you an Aggie?
I feel like she down here where you at,
Are we,
Joy. She over there
are
by
we
you,
Aggie
girl.
Pride? Is this happening right
Here
now?
they go.
Are we having a
Here they
moment?
go.
Because
I think something's going on.
I need to know, when did you graduate?
Ah,
Yes.
you know, every time you know with somebody with the school, the first thing you would say, "Oh, what year you graduated?"
Right.
Right.
Like
Because you try to
Let's
get some
make sure it's
contact.
real.
but he said I was in high school and in college during those years. I've never seen so many women get grabbed on and surrounded. Seeing that in high school was traumatic,
And that
We
was the
gonna get into
precipice of
it.
his career. Is that what drove you
To the
to be
family
a
law.
divorce attorney? Is that
Those ladies are getting, but he could get a little, out the way with the way he talk.
So we're gonna get into the down. We're gonna get into the demise of it. He's laughing
But
in
it
the chat.
sounds like New Orleans. New Orleans like that all the time. They said these are Freaknik ladies. They now the Essence Fest. They're
Yes,
there
that's
on
what it said. It
Sunday
said
wearing their
yeah,
white
they
linen,
said that
listening to
Freaknik
Frank the Devil at
graduated
night.
college and
They're
they
now
said
at
got a
Essence
Freaknik
Fest.
master's degree.
Freaknik
Yes.
graduated college, got two kids,
Ever
and said
Yeah.
she no longer goes by Freaknik. She goes by Essence Fest.
she
And
goes
baby,
by
let me tell you
Essence
something.
Fest.
I'm at Essence Fest almost
Who
every year. I was there
Essence?
last year.
Who is Essence? That's why I'm like, they wearing
But
their white on Sunday, listening to Frank and Beverly Mays. They listen to them. And New
and they
Edition if they
linen.
come on Saturdays. Okay, in the Super Lounge. But anyway, yes.
Woo!
Yes.
All right, all right. I'm gonna keep the video going so we can get this over.
Students felt they were partying no harder than a predominantly white college would during spring break, and the leaders of the historically black town should have their back. To reach a compromise between the city and partygoers, civic leaders decided to try to make Freaknik
Maybe
more
they hunching.
acceptable by changing its theme. They added a job fair and a community basketball game with concession
Yes.
stands along Auburn Ave. Although the city's attempt to turn Freaknik into Atlanta's Black College Spring Break celebration would prove to be unsuccessful, Mayor Bill Campbell assured that with the allocation of $175,000 for security and cleanup, the event would run much smoother than last year. Freaknik 1994 brought double the amount of participants it did the last year. 200,000 people gathered from all over the nation and even Canada. As the crowds grew, the real freaks began to emerge.
200,000 in 1994. 200,000 people came to Freaknik,
Yes.
and y'all talk about Atlanta traffic today. 200,000 people at one time for over a course of a weekend or whatever came,
It was hot down there. It
and
was
it was
hot
hot. That's
Atlanta. It was
when
hot Atlanta.
hot Atlanta, right? That is crazy. And then you guys see how they try to like clean it up a little bit, add a little job fair to it.
Sound like Essence Fest to me.
Put a little basketball game on it.
Sound like Essence Fest to me.
But the one thing he did point out was like they felt like at the time that you had a lot of these white spring breaks. I remember MTV Spring Break,
Yes.
Cancun, all these other, and they used to go hard
Oh yes, on TV,
on
national
you
TV.
Lollapalooza. What is them like? What is it?
Like,
Woodstock?
yes.
Maybe not Lollapalooza. I don't know, but whatever. Right? They were going hard. I mean, I remember I seen.
Pour some sugar on me. They always used to be all the time and spraying the audience.
You need to stay out of LSU. Get
I,
away from
I
LSU.
do, I do, I do, I do. I
But
was on both sides of town, you know.
the thing was, they were trying to say like, man, like they are doing it, and y'all let them ride, right? I'm pretty sure. I mean, you were roll tide, in Alabama. I don't know what them parties like, thank
Rose.
God, but like, but they're like, so why y'all coming in on us? We
Ain't
just
no
trying to have
affordable.
fun too. But y'all,
Ain't no affordable.
I don't know what y'all. I don't know. Y'all let me know in the chat. Lee, you were there. This first hand account, so you gotta let us know. Like the parties at Georgia's at the flagship. Let me stop doing that because that's what he's saying. But the University of Georgia, them Bulldogs, were they partying like they were down in the AUC? You gotta let us know. What party would you have rather been at? TLA. Would you rather be down here with the Clark, Spelman, Morehouse, or you like them Bulldog parties up there? But anybody else, y'all, let me know. Do you think
Yes.
there was some racial issue in Atlanta? Now got to know a little bit about the history of Atlanta and race relations in Atlanta and just how prominent it is within the black community and everything like that. But do you think that had something to do with it? Was that you think that played a part?
Okay, can I? Oh,
Yeah, girl.
hey.
It's your
So,
unsolicited opinion. It's yours.
um, I want to preface what I have to say with a question. Okay, so my question is, who do you feel like is really at fault for the improper planning to contain traffic and the inability to control the crime?
So I think at this time, I think they were talking about 1994, 93, 94, 95. Freaknik has been a thing for a decade at this point. Um, and I think I heard like $175,000, and I don't know what that is in '90s terms. I don't know what 175, 175K looks like, but like $175,000 for I guess the police force and security. I don't know how long that stretched back then. I wasn't square biz back then. I was just Thai.
But even if you doubled it now, what is that?
For
$325,000. So
security for a festival like that, where as time went on, you seen like it grow and grow and grow. I think that was piss poor. But I don't. That's just me not necessarily knowing how far 175K on security or police force or whatever went. So if you're saying like no, that was a lot of money and that brought out everyone, then but 175K.
they probably
I
blow
don't.
that at a Georgia game. What they got
I
about
hate
how many people
I'm not.
they hold in the stands?
175K, baby. I already know between all three of us, we probably triple that, quadruple that, just with our 9 to 5s. But, I don't. I just don't. I'm looking at 175K, and I'm like, for security for a festival for $200,000 people. I mean,
Right.
200,000 people.
Black
What?
people.
Woo.
So the reason why I ask is because I have a grievance. I have a grievance. My grievance is that this isn't anything new, and I know we're talking about something back in the day or whatever. But where there's smoke, there's fire. You can see these things start to escalate year after year. Like y'all mentioned Essence Fest, which my mind immediately went to. We had a women's empowerment thing here in Charlotte with the two biggest urban radio stations. And it started out as something cutesy wootsy. You get your booth, go get your little bracelet, whatever. And then they started adding these musical acts that started to draw a different type of crowd. And then, it got to be so much that on the 6 o'clock news, they were talking about how many police had to be called in to break up fights and all of these things. And so they moved it. They didn't stop it, even though the police had to come in to break up the fights. They said, you know what? Let's give them more room to fight. So they moved the event to somewhere else. And so I'm asking because I feel as though, for whatever reason, the black community tends to get annoyed when you call a thing a thing. And when we have these events that become glorified parties that are supposed to be intended for one thing and they gradually grow into something that is not, CIAA, right? CIAA was held in Raleigh for a few years. Then it came to Charlotte. I think we had it maybe 6, 7 years, something like that. And now it's moved on to Baltimore.
Yeah, and I had a and
And
it was a good time. It
it is
wasn't.
not the intended purpose. Was the idea is like, oh, let's raise money for scholarships. Let's do, but no, nobody. I'm going to CIAA, girl. You going? I'm going to CI. I'm going to CIAA,
Now
girl. Let
hold
me.
on, I'm gonna have to
What's
stop
going
you right
on?
there.
What's
I'm gonna have to
going
stop
on?
you right there, Joy. CIAA and here in Baltimore was a stand up event. It
That's
was a week
great. But here in
long.
Charlotte, we was like, you know what?
But I
We're
listen.
done
I
here.
remember it. I
We're
remember it.
over it.
I remember it in Charlotte too, and you were exactly right. Like
It's a wrap.
CIAA was an event. That was it. Like it was like, nah, I need to get my clothes for CIAA because it's gonna be lit.
It's a
I
whole thing
remember.
that is completely not for the intended purpose. And so I say this to say, as these events grow, because I mean, I guess that's the idea, right? You start out with something that's an idea, and you're like, well, okay, let's throw a little bit more money at it. Oh, this is successful, and you want to make money from it. But my thing is, why is it that we try to act shocked and appalled and surprised when it turns into mayhem and then want to be like, but white people, no, 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 don't do that. Why is it that we, no, point, because I see this happen over and over and over, event after event after event, different cities, different decades. And it's like, we don't it doesn't matter. It's just like they have the bike week or whatever. What is it? Spring break in Miami. The people in Miami, they sick of us. It's turned into violence and mayhem,
Mhm.
and they're like, y'all gotta get out my backyard. You know, I follow YouTubers that are black that live there, and they like, look now, why y'all jumping up and down on people's cars? Why this? Why that? Like, why does innocent fun seem to turn into a disaster routinely, right? And
Okay.
so, if we know it's kind of a formula there, what are we doing, and why is it that there's nothing being done to slow the progression of the bad behavior down?
So so here's my thing. Here's my pushback a little bit to you, Joy. Is we just said that they they said 175K for Freaknik in the 90s, and they just said it was over 200,000 people, right? I feel like sometimes different events get more funding, so to speak, on trying to contain it and stuff like that, which kind of shapes the way the event goes, whereas others don't because of certain aspects. We'll just keep it there, right? So I'm looking in the chat here, and even TLA said they would need $10 million to really make that. I'm thinking he's saying 10 million to like really secure or make it like a safe space for people to come or whatever. And I think he also said something about the mayor shutting down the exits on the highway, so they just circling the highway. You can't even get off the highway, right? So we talking about traffic, stuff like that. I feel like those funds or whatever, I don't want to say misappropriated because I don't know,
They're not
but
there.
$175,000. I know y'all make that. I know that's y'all. Listen, I ain't gonna dox you, but $175,000 for security for something that you for over a decade has grown and grown and grown. I don't know if you could spend 175K for CIAA. And at that back, well, I don't even know when, but I don't think that's adequate. So when you don't provide an event the adequate, I don't know, things and resources that it needs, whether that's like trash pickup, like whether it's security, whether it's that, then yes, it can grow, it can metastasize into something and morph into something that it probably it shouldn't have been or wouldn't have been if from the beginning or from the jump when you saw it getting big you were giving it the adequate resources too so that you can shape them like yeah nah Freaknik is cool but you know that the police be on it
But
or you know
here's the gag though, right? So let's flip it. If it was the other way around, there would be the same outcry. Why they got all the police? What they trying to say? We're trying to say you're criminals.
so
Oh,
then
I
I
think
mean
oh wait, hold
go
on.
ahead,
I'm
go
calling
ahead
you a
Miss Love.
criminal. Yeah, didn't y'all kill people last year? Didn't you break in the store? You see what I'm saying? It's like it's a catch 22, right? Because you never gonna it's never gonna be all right. But again, it like how I love the word it metastasizes. You a thousand. I think that's a perfect word to use. But you see it growing. You
Untreated.
cut the cancer out when you see it growing. I don't understand this blind eye that I don't know if it's the city to get blinded by the money that they could potentially make. I don't know. I don't know what it is. But like I said, I see it over and over in different events in different cities. And I just wonder, like, well, how did we get here? I don't know.
I think it's similar to like we were saying earlier, like with the Facebook. First of all, you let other people in. You know, you open it up to more people, and it is poor planning by the people that are over it because you see it, like you say, it's growing over 10 years. I just went to a very, very, very small concert in Shreveport, like at the end of last year, maybe middle of last year, and during the summer. New Edition. Do you know, like, they didn't even have people out here directing traffic? It was in Shreveport. The only concert I've been to that has been smaller than that was when I went in Jackson to see New Edition. Like, when they
Oh, baby,
first
you go
went
see the
back on tour,
edition.
because I'm going to see New Edition. Some of these people, I'm going to go see them up close. And if I get my tickets in Jackson or in Shreveport, you can get $100. You can be, like, touching them. So, anyway, they didn't have people even directing traffic. So it's like, and this is like, almost pretty much like one way in, one way out. And it's like it's still at like a dome. It was a pretty decent sized concert, but it's on the city. Everybody who and the people who are planning. If you don't have if you don't have the budget for it, then it's like you have no choice. It's gonna go. It's gonna go awry. This is what's gonna happen.
And with
And
concerts, so it's based on who owns those venues too, right? So I used to work at a radio station. Like I work in promotions. I did the things, right? And so the way that these contracts are written, there are certain requirements and certain like, yeah, you got to spend this much or you need to have this many security. All of that is written out, and it's an agreement between the promoter and whoever the other party is. And so, yeah, it may be a fact that
yeah, but even
they
so,
don't
like,
go in depth with having enough.
but even so, I mean, some things don't necessarily like some things are not necessarily written in contract. If like okay, here in DC, we over the summer we have tons of different festivals, Broccoli Fest, all of that, right? Last I think I think somebody said something about something in the water, all of that stuff, right? If I am the chief of police and I know there's gonna be a lot of people coming in here for like Beyonce's gonna be here this summer, right? I got my tickets. Don't judge me. I don't think a contract needs to be written between the concert promoter and Metropolitan Police for the police to know there's going to be a lot of people at this particular area on this day, right? Even for Howard homecoming, right? Howard doesn't. I mean, I don't know what they do, so don't. So there's that. But there's going to be a lot of people in the city for these events on this day as a city, as a mayor, the mayor, right? It's just gonna happen. Mayor Brandon Scott knew CIAA was coming. He knew a lot of people were coming. It's just some things you just already know. Now this is the 80s and the 90s. I'm not making excuses for anybody or whatever, anything like that. But you've seen this thing grow over the years. We're talking about 90s now. This thing it's a thing. The thing is a thing. Let's call a thing a thing. It's Freaknik, and we get a lot of people coming down here. 175K. It's a healthy balance of everything. It's a healthy balance of policing, making sure that people are safe, and it is a healthy balance of like planning, making sure that you have venues and things like that. Listen, I mean, I can't speak for anyone or anything like that, but if you don't have, both of those, it's gonna go the way it goes. And just like cancer, just like you said, it's gonna metastasize, and it's gonna get bigger. It's gonna grow disproportionately, whichever way was left unattended. If that makes sense. So if policing was left unattended, then you're gonna get the what TLS said. He was traumatized, right? Seeing people have sex in public or
I'm
whatever
sure
they were
he
doing. I
was.
don't know if it was.
Has he ever been to Bourbon Street in New Orleans? That's a regular day.
Baby. Whew, okay. But I'm just saying it was a lot of stuff that was let when things get left unchecked, even if there's over policing, it can morph into something. It has to be a healthy balance of everything. This is hindsight, right? This is hindsight 2020. Things were different in the 90s. It could have very well, I'm not giving them no money to do nothing, even though it's a black bay or whatever. I ain't got no time for that because my constituents want the money to go over here, you know, or not. I don't know, but I'm gonna get back into the video. We ain't gotta, I don't want to make this another moment, but let's see what we got.
The
Let's
partying
see
got
that.
even crazier. Non-students had turned Freaknik into a place they ignore their morals and do any and everything they wanted. Things that normally happen in strip clubs spilled into the streets. Men were fondling women at every turn with or without consent. Uncle Luke was known as the king of Freaknik, and attendees had begun to live out the lyrics to his songs right there in the streets. Perhaps the music video to his 1993 song, Work It Out, which was shot at the previous year's Freaknik, encouraged more raunchy activity. But unfortunately, it made Freaknik a little more dangerous for women who weren't willingly participants in the lewd behavior. Arrests for disorderly conduct, indecent exposure, and public lewdness increased, and the media reported all of the unmentionable incidents. But by this time, Freaknik was adding at least $20 million to the city's economy. So officials turned a blind eye to the craziness of the festival while simultaneously disassociating with the event together.
So I don't know, Joy. I mean, listen, this is just one person's account. But if you guys listen to that, what he was saying was a lot of things were going on. A lot of things are happening, right? Crime, women getting, violated. It was just a lot of things going on. And from their account, and I'm not saying it's the right account, but basically it was a lot of blind eye being turned because of the money that was coming in from the event. I don't know how true that is. Y'all let me know in the chat how true you think that is. That like the city officials turn a blind eye to a lot of the stuff that was going on that allow a lot of things to happen
Yeah.
because of the money. And then Joy, let us know what you feel about that.
No, I definitely think money is the driver to anything. I
Mm-hmm.
don't care what it is. If you ever want to know the answer to something, follow the money.
Mm-hmm.
If you ever want to
Mm-hmm.
know why something is the way it is, it always leads back to money. I mean, it's America. That's what we love. We love money. Um, and unfortunately, more than we love lives. And like I said, I think that it's important for people in the community to call a thing and to call out bad behavior when the bad behavior exists and
Yeah.
not be like, oh no, that's just an over there thing. Like how we kind of started out the conversation with oh, they don't go to college, so that must be them. Like, no, okay, even still, let's nip it in the bud. Like, we need to revamp. And I watch these events get planned. I watch these events escalate. They're dousing gasoline on the fire. If you know it was fights last year and you had such and such artists, why are you gonna bring three exact artists like that that's gonna get the crowd rowdy so it can be more fight? It is mind blowing to me. And the
Mm-hmm.
promoters know it and they love it. They plan it. They want you to come and spend a lot of money on bottles and drink a lot and how Terrell said, spend $100 to get in while you stand outside 2.5 hours to get into the lit party for an hour and a half. I don't understand. I think that there needs to be some responsibility within the community before we like, oh, it's their fault because they didn't give us enough money.
That's
My,
true. And on the same side, just like you said, if you knew that, this event had 3 fights last year and maybe somebody shot it up and it's gonna happen again this year, there's some responsibility on the powers that be to make sure that you provide adequate, security to make sure that, you know, people all you gotta for me, all I gotta do is see them blue and red lights and I'm I'm gonna sober up. Okay.
Quickly,
I'm gonna sober
quickly.
up real quick. You understand what I'm saying? I ain't trying to lose my clearance. So like, so I get it, and so it is a balance. It's a balance. It is understanding the self, right? Like if I know if I'm out here, I know I know all the things around decorum and how people should act and things like that. Like I was raised right, right? I was raised right, but sometimes I don't drink Hennessy, so I'm just saying.
I knew
Sometimes,
you was gonna say
I don't. No, I was gonna say sometimes when the Henny's in the system, ain't no telling. But I don't drink Hennessy, so. But sometimes, you get out there, you might have a good old time.
Is
I
that
don't
the one
know.
that make them fight?
I guess, girl. Well, let
It's
me not say.
something
I
I don't
guess.
know
Yeah,
what they be drinking or something that
yeah,
make them they begin to fight and they be getting out their shirt.
them
yeah,
Incredible Hulk.
girl. I've seen them.
Yes,
I've seen them go crazy on that Hennessy. I don't
yes.
drink. I don't drink dark liquor. That's just me. But I don't know, Nastasha. What you think about all of that?
Yeah, I think that, I think it's we need the police and we need the people to like direct the traffic. You need all that in place. But I mean, I was just thinking that pour some sugar on me. They literally they people
They,
like jumping in the crowd, like
they really
crowd
be
surfing.
pouring
They're
sugar.
pouring drinks all over each other. Like they wilding out. They wild, they party to the edge of life.
Does
So
anybody die?
they sometimes they do
Yeah.
all the time. And then sometimes they end other
Be in the
people's
bathroom
lives
doing
too, man.
lines.
They get behind the wheel. They going on, They like I'm on the edge. I'm going to test this thing to the limit and beyond. So it's just unfortunate that we don't have like the security in place. But as far as like the level of partying that's going on, you already know, like people getting roofied, people getting great, people getting all kind of stuff, at those parties. And even after somebody dies, because they do die, so people still doing very inappropriate things with the bodies. So yeah, it ain't just like Freaknik sound like, oh yeah, and I think it just sounds like that because it's hot outside. I think it's because it's hot. Even though, they be sweating too over there. Because when I was at Southern, LSU was the number one party school in the nation. So just there's that.
Was it?
So
Girl, I felt like it was Howard, but whatever. Anyway, it
that's what
ain't
they say.
like
That's what they
no,
say.
I'm just
But
playing.
I'm like, yeah, like we just need the security. Like they're doing nothing extra than the rest of them are doing.
But what's
They're
the
doing work.
line? What's the line? What is the line in the sand before it's like, oh, we're offended because you provided so many police? Because that
I'm
happens.
never offended by that. And I think if it's still
It's
majority
completely
people in
happened.
college, it's still like now if the police out there like harassing the party
Right.
goers, that's a problem. If I'm going
Yeah.
to a party to have fun and people like, hey, what you doing? And I'm like, I'm just walking up here like where the group is, where the party is, leave me alone on the way. Now you need to police the people that are like being rowdy, the people that's like, stopping in the middle of traffic, that's like, hey, get back in your car, drive on through because we got people directing traffic. Because this, I'm directing you this way. This is where you park it, so you don't stop in the middle of the interstate, whatever, and then you party over there. But like they shouldn't be harassing people that are there for the party, because that's where I think it
Yeah.
becomes a problem. Like, why we got the police here like this? Because we can't even have a good time because the police harassing us, and we just like standing here doing nothing or laughing and talking with each other. But
Yeah. I
that's
think
what I
that's what it
think.
is. It's the over policing. It's the harassing, and we're talking about the '90s. Okay, so if the popo was a thing, it was a thing. It was definitely a thing. And it was like the height of like y'all know rap music,
Rodney
gangster
King.
rap, all that stuff. So just the atmosphere being in the 90s, right? And then I think even like in New York, it was like a stop and frisk type deal. It was just a lot. We're talking about remember super predators type deal, with the crime bill and everything like that. So it was an environment, right? So yes, Joy, I see your point. Like if we get all these police, all you gonna do is cry like, yeah, you're being over policed, right? But just because you're there doesn't necessarily mean you have to harass the people who are there to have a good time, unless they're actually committing crimes, right? Unless they're, I don't even say belligerent. unless they're committing crimes, then leave. You know why they're here. They're here to have a good time. It's spring break. It's college students, right? Trying to have a good time. You know why they're here. They're not really, unless they're out there doing all the things that, Nastasha listed, like keep the party
I'm
going.
interested about
Keep
these
the party
doing
going.
things with these dead bodies, but we'll circle back to that.
We'll
They had
circle
a
back.
whole.
All right, let me
Okay. We
let
can
me get
see.
let me get
Was it
what
weekend at Bernie's?
oh yeah,
I
we
don't
got.
know. If
But
they had a, they had, that
before
was
I
the
get
guy.
back to that
You
video,
said what?
Nastasha, did you want to go through the chat and see what people are saying?
Yeah, I wanted to go back up here because my sexy is strong. She says city leadership want big events because it brings the money to the city, and we already know that's what that is for the most part. But can't be policing the people that's here. We here to spend money. We here to have a good time. Like get off my back if I'm not doing anything. Terrell Key, he says certain acts also bring a certain audience too, and we want to see. We sometimes we want to be. We are against those thugs.
We're not
We
against
want to
we're
hear
not
that.
against rap. We're not against
Well,
rappers.
but we are against those thugs. That's what
I
that's
know
what
where that was from.
Against
that's what I'm saying. That we going to the late '90s because we showing our age, but we still had a little vibe going on. Okay, Lisa says that sounds about right. The restaurant, hotels, hotel stores, they making that bank. They getting all the money. These people, they buying gas to come down here. They eating their little snacks. They doing drugs and they getting hungry. They eating at your restaurants. Okay, they like got the city full.
Oh, they
The
got the
city's
munchies.
making money. They getting that money. Okay. My sex is strong. She says, I mean, make it make sense. It makes sense. First of all, this was a black event in the 90s. So, it is
The
not a
black
stretch to
event.
believe that they ignored the violence and crime because of the money. Yes. And then when they decide, like, all right, let's shut it down, here they come, acting like it's the 60s with the billy clubs and the dogs and
Here
the
they come.
police, y'all know. Like,
Whoa,
hey, hey, bring it up,
and the
y'all,
German shepherds.
Come on. Y'all, it was a joke on Comic View when Sid was like,
Comic now,
black
you
people,
really 90s.
Come on,
not
come with
Comic
it.
View. This is Kings of Comedy. I mean, when
Oh,
Sid
Kings
is
of
kind
Comedy.
of,
I thought you
he,
said,
but
girl.
y'all know he hosted Comic View a couple
Yes, he
times.
did. He sure did. He
Okay,
was the
okay.
second host
He
of
was like,
Comic View. Don't get me on it because I go through all the Comic View hosts.
Okay, him, Dia, Hughley, Ricky Smiley, all of them.
You
And
better
some
do
more,
it.
some more. Okay, anyway,
You better
he
do
was
it.
like, when black people see somebody running, we don't ask questions.
Everybody run.
We just start running. So, police
Get
be like getting
Lisa,
them. Okay, it's like, hey, what's going? We like, okay, we just start running. We talk about this when we get to a good stopping point. Like,
Okay.
what was that all
That,
about?
it happens all the time.
Okay, so we already know how it was going down in Freaknik. These police, they ain't got to worry about us. They get one person to running. The rest of us gonna get on out of Dodge as well. Terrell's like, Joy gonna have them playing Gladys night after
I might.
9:30. I'm
He's
leaving.
leaving
Yes.
on
On
that
that
midnight
midnight
train.
train to Georgia. Yes.
Maybe.
She's like, get your wine. Don't get your wine coolers. And
Okay.
let's go on, calm down. Get out that henny, y'all calm down. Too many folks got their shirts out, put the muscles back in your shirts, okay? Oh, y'all, I'm just saying, like in the 90s though, did they seem like they had some different kind of DNA, some different kind of genes? Cause them man, okay.
Baby, don't get it. I mean, are we gonna go there?
I mean, they was like, they was in shape. I'm like, these are like 20-year-old men. Look, Shannon Sharp had put a picture up recently on like
Yes, he
Yeah.
did. I was
all
just
them
thinking
dudes,
about that.
all of them,
All
all of them.
That's because y'all like he on them roids. He's like, let me tell you what, I've been that.
He like, baby,
baby,
I
that was
Don't
that
be
was
that.
what he went to, Shannon Sharp went to not St. Augustine. It was Savannah State, HBCU. He put up the football team from Savannah State
He
Ooh,
sure
Lord
during
have
did.
his
mercy.
time.
He sure
Lord have
did.
mercy. You think I wouldn't have been? I would
What
have
you
been a
what
30-year-old son right now.
Okay.
okay.
Y'all tell me. It's
All
like
of
all
them.
of them. You don't see like y'all know.
Did y'all see
He-
Red though? I didn't even know he played football with Shannon Sharp. He's a comedian out of DC.
Come on now.
Yeah,
Who's
he was
that?
in that picture. He's a comedian. He's a real light skinned he's a comedian out of DC, and he was in that picture with Shannon Sharp. I didn't even know that until I saw that picture that he posted. I didn't even know that he played football at Savannah State
Oh no.
Yes.
with Shannon Sharp.
Let me go to Terrell say, all the grandmamas gonna be out there stopping Freaknik. Okay, no, they ain't. They out there. They was out there dancing.
Okay.
They was
That
the ones grown enough to
listen,
be out
I'm gonna
there.
get into it because we got that whole scene like twerking, and that was a thing, right? In this century, I would say that, right? In the 20 in the two that this is a century, right? Twerking, twerking, twerking. But baby, if you in the 1900s, it was called popping. If
What?
you could, listen, and it was all upper back for me anyway, right? It was lower back, but it
Yes,
was
it
all
was popping. It was
you were with
popping.
it. And it was stiff. It was as stiff as pump it up if you could really
Oh
like
my
get it.
god.
Yes.
If you
Stop.
could get it,
Yes.
don't
That's
stop, pop that. You was
it.
popping
I
back
Yes.
love
then.
it.
Yes. Pea
Oh
popping, it's time for the
no.
percolator, all of that. But in
Okay.
Louisiana, we was giving them we was giving them a little bottom. I know the rest
Oh,
of it
I
get the
know
top.
y'all was. I
We was
mean, it
giving
was
them,
bottom too. It was all of that, but it's something about this that makes me feel like the
yes,
1900s. It just
yes,
it felt like the 1900s was all like upper back, and
1900s.
it was
Oh
of course, the 1900s. You didn't like that, did you? It felt some type of way, didn't it? It
yeah.
this is
felt
because
like
this is
Oregon
the
Trail.
2000s. This is 20s.
Yeah.
It felt like Oregon Trail, right?
Give me a trail of tears.
Oh.
Yes. Lisa the housewife. She says I still love baggy jeans and a six pack.
She
Look,
want a
Baby.
soldier.
you better come through,
Y'all
Lisa.
remember? Oh
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
Mm,
Out here truckers
mm.
say, you know what it is. Yeah. I'm just
What's that?
saying. The BMs, is it the baby mamas?
This baby mamas or that black man? I don't know.
Yeah, we're gonna go with black men. I like that. Yeah. Terrell is laughing. Lisa says, pop in the street. Yes. Nina Simone.
Come on,
Welcome
Nina.
to
Please
my Unsolicited
go
Opinions
ahead.
Popping in the
podcast.
headstand.
Nina. Tell them, Nina. Tell them, you
Look,
know, Nina. Because
she
some of them out here, they still got it. I'm going to just say it. Tell them, Nina.
she still got it.
Yes. Tell them how y'all just pop it in them high school talent shows. Used to love them
Okay.
high school talent shows.
It was all upper body for me. I was
Yes.
like,
Ah.
mm, okay.
Yes.
I was popping it out here.
Lisa say she got her a soldier.
No nigga
Okay.
Got
carry
her one.
big things if you know what I mean.
Okay.
Okay.
She got her soldier.
I
Look,
know that's right.
somebody out here telling on themselves.
She got a dirty. Don't be
Oh
telling you don't
Somebody
got
out
it.
here, somebody know. They telling on themselves.
All right,
Come
y'all. So
on.
I'm gonna pull it back up. I'm gonna fast forward just a little bit. Y'all can definitely check out this video. I'm gonna have the link in the description for y'all. But we want to get to kind of like, towards the end and what happened, kind of with Freaknik and how it kind of like died out, really. So I think right about here.
To
Let me
clean
see.
it up. He told the Washington Post, the city is in the party business. Braves games,
Oh,
the
let me move
Olympics,
it.
that's the city. They had effectively rebranded to the Sweet Auburn Fest and was much more controlled than the previous years. The vibe of the original Freaknik was totally erased and the number of attendees continued to decline. The Associated Press reported in 1998 that the Atlanta Committee for Black College Spring Break would no longer welcome Freaknik. We cannot support events that bring lewd activities, sexual assaults, violence against women, and public safety concerns. Fire trucks not being able to reach victims, and ambulances not being able to reach hospitals in a timely manner, said committee chairman George Hawthorne. In 1999, there were less than 50,000 Freaknik attendees, and most of the people there were men. The Baltimore Sun reported sights of men driving around aimlessly looking for women. Police heavily monitored activity and stepped in quickly with any signs of nudity or lewd behavior. It was the worst year yet for the festival. Other black college festivals began to pop up around the nation, and students went elsewhere for their spring break celebrations. The city of Atlanta got its wish, and in 1999, the celebration of Freaknik officially ended. There have since been more than recent attempts to revive the notorious festival, most notably in 2019. The promotion group After Nine Partners, who now owns the trademark for Freaknik, hosted 20,000 attendees at the Solaris Amphitheater in Atlanta. The one-day festival hosted performances by some frequent guests of the original Freaknik like Uncle Luke, Trina, and Jermaine Dupri. The goal was to bring Freaknik back, but in a more positive way. Although guests had a good time at the new Freaknik, most recalled that it would never top the original, and it's probably best to let it rest. Celebrities have paid homage to the festival with Freaknik-themed parties, and T-Pain even produced Freaknik, the musical and animated TV special based on the infamous festival that aired on Cartoon Network. Freaknik was so prominent, it had a
All right, y'all. Y'all kind of get the gist of it, right? So basically, it got out of control. There was a lot of, things going on, lascivious, and you know, things going on, especially when things go unchecked. And then towards the end of it, towards 1999, like they said, it was less than 50,000 people, and most of them were just like men, right? And just think about like a bunch of men, in the area looking for women that ain't there. You know what I mean? It could, and black men at that in the 90s, like we just talked about, right? Um, I don't know how do y'all feel about the decline of Freaknik, because when I came to know of it, it was always about like you go down there, like you said, like everything that we've said. Get your booty shorts on, baby. You didn't need a face. I mean, like a makeup. I'm sorry, I'm bad. You didn't need a beat. You didn't need to have a lot of makeup on. You just had that your lip gloss, maybe your eyebrows, a little lip liner, black or whatever. Your braids, your poetic justice braids.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And then
Now
you were
shout out to
in.
Ty tonight for the braids and our joy.
Hey, feel
Ty
like
giving
Ty
it
with
giving
the
us
braids.
the
Okay,
length
I just wanted you
tonight.
to know. But it was, how do y'all feel about the decline of Freaknik? I think I even heard y'all. I don't know if y'all ever seen the movies, The Players Club, but I think I even heard like something dealing with the character Crystal. Well, the character is Ronnie, but the lady's name is Crystal, who actually the actress that played her, having like something go on at Freaknik where she might have been assaulted or something like that. That added to the decline of Freaknik. How do y'all feel, about the decline?
I think it was just a matter of time. Like, even with a lot of this stuff, it's like it went on for 10 years. How long was it? From 83 to like 95?
99.
99. That was a long
99 was
time.
last
But
year.
they had a good run and it was just on to something else. We coming into a new decade, second decade of it. It was just a matter of time before it's gonna go down anyway. That's what I think. And it's like with everything else, this next generation, it ain't like it was, so that's why I think it was just a matter of time anyway before it was gonna go away.
What about you, Joy?
It occurred to me mid sentence or something that he said. There are contracts that are set up, so maybe they don't cut them out. They don't stop the events because they have contractual obligations for 6 years, 7 years, or whatever. Like I said, we had the CIAA here in Charlotte, I think for like 7 years, something like that. And I remember when they announced that they renewed the contract, and I rolled my eyes. So now it's in a whole different city, right? So you were like, oh no, it was great here year one. Right?
Right,
So,
right,
who knows what it looked like by year six, or however long the
right.
contract is for. So, I mean, that was just something that just dawned on me. They probably had some sort of contractual agreement that said, hey, we bringing this event for this number of years. It really ain't a whole lot you can do.
I don't know. You think they were under some type of contractual agreement since it started there, and it didn't really like start like from that standpoint of bringing something to the city, and you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
They
I mean,
said they
okay,
got a
I would.
trademark.
I mean,
Absolutely. Absolutely. When they said they got a trademark, absolutely.
okay, okay. I don't know. I honestly don't know. I don't. So I don't want to. I don't want to speak too much on it.
Well,
Yeah,
I'm
because
gonna
I
get
mean, they
on.
would have had to have all of the spaces and things reserved. You know what I mean, for the same time the following year. Like I guess that's the only way to do it. But no, when they say a trademark, like, oh, this is a real
Mm-hmm.
thing. Oh, okay, it's a business.
Mm-hmm.
Got it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, chat. We want y'all to let us know in the chat. I'm gonna go back to this. If y'all think that all the Freaknik chicks, because we mostly thinking about the women, okay, how they, if y'all think they have now graduated to the Essence Fest, if that's them, put a one in the chat. Because I'm like, I can't get past that because I think that's true. Put
I
a
think
one in
it's
the chat.
true too. I
Put a
think
one in
it's
the
true
chat.
too.
And if you were once upon a time, you wish you had gone to Freaknik. If you did go to Freaknik, and now you're a frequent visitor of the Essence Festival weekend in New Orleans every Fourth of July weekend every year. If you think that's them, or if you know it's you, put a one in the chat.
Now, Essence Fest was going on in the 90s. It was going
No,
on like, I remember about it like in the Jet magazines.
Not like this. Not
No,
this.
not like it is now, but it was a thing.
But
I don't know if Essence Fest was a
the
thing.
crowd though they shifted. They got older.
Mm,
Yeah.
Essence Fest ain't that old, y'all.
Yeah, it ain't. Yeah. But if they graduated though to
But I
now
do
they were
I
20, now they 30, now they 40. Some of these women 50, they looking good. Though, I'ma just say it.
Yeah.
They still got it. Some of them
No, it
do.
started in 1995.
what Essence
Yeah,
Fest
that was
was
Yeah.
and Freaknik
I
was
remember
like
it
on
in
the
the Jet
decline.
magazine.
Yeah, it was finna be over then.
But it was, I mean, no, I think Essence Fest would, okay, so a couple of things. I remember, I've only been once, like maybe whatever the year was that the Girls Trip movie came out. And
that was
so,
Yeah.
2017.
okay, so we went, right? Me and three of my friends, we went to Essence Fest. And Mary J. Blige was, singing the Escape performed or whatever. And it was cool, but I remember being told that it was going to be a lot of men there. And I got there and I was like, who are all of these women? What's going on? I was
Don't go to
so
the
confused.
empowerment seminars. Don't go to the super lounge. Now, if you, it's gonna be some older men there. They're gonna be there
What
on
was
Sunday. They're
going
gonna
on?
be there with their white linen on, and they're gonna be there for Frankie Beverly and Maze.
Now, I will say, if they invited the city girls, like if they
City
announced
girls are not gonna be
today
there.
that the city girls were going to come, you're going to have a different outcome.
The city girls will
So
not be invited to Essence Festival. They're not gonna be
now,
invited there.
so I would say this. I don't, Natasha. I know you from New Orleans.
Louisiana.
I mean, well, from Louisiana,
Yeah.
and so I know you're very familiar. But I've been to a few different Essence festivals. I went to the very last one they had last year as well. I'm gonna say this: the one last year had way more men than in years past.
Oh, good. Okay.
And not in a bad way. It was
Mhm.
like men coming. I think when I first went to Essence Festival, I've always said like if a man like is looking for a woman, he should come to Essence Festival because that's where a black man want a black woman
Any
should
kind of
probably come
black
to
woman,
Essence Festival
any
because
type.
it was, and I was
Old
there
ones,
too
young
in
ones, light, yeah,
2017
dark. They got
with
all
Girls Trip
kinds.
as well.
Thick.
Like it, I mean, if you were looking for a date. Now I was thinking to myself also if you were a black woman looking for a man, Essence Festival wasn't the place to go and look for one because it was a bunch of women. And I don't know if the Lord, from my lips to the Lord's ears or whatever, but last year,
I think it might have been post COVID.
and plus it's
People
exactly
need somewhere to
post
go.
COVID and
Yeah.
everything like that. And they had good acts. New Edition was there. We had,
New Edition
Ron
is
Isley.
bringing a different crowd too. I think now they transitioning from the Sunday Frankie Beverly and Mays White Linen to New Edition Sunday, and
Right.
those
So
are the
it was some
freakniks, the
real
40s and 50-year-olds. That's
right.
them now.
And Jan Jackson, Method Man was there.
Yeah.
Like I said, so it was a good mix of acts and everything like that. And it was a lot more men than I have seen in like years past. Like if I was out looking for one, I would probably go back in 2023. Like because and it wasn't Freaknik, right? It was the same like we say the women from Freaknik graduated to Essence Fest or whatever, the men did it too because
Yeah.
on the flip side of that camera that everybody's talking about, everyone talks about the women in Freaknik, right? We talk about all the women, they raunchy, they doing it, taking off their clothes, blah blah blah. But there was some men taking or women, whatever floats your boat, that was filming, that was taking the pictures, that was doing all of that. I think I seen a police officer who I believe was relieved. I don't know off of this, but I think it was some type of investigation that was, looking inside of some things. You know what I mean? So like this wasn't just a one way street is what I'm trying to tell you. There was a flip side to
And college men too.
Freaknik.
I saw some little Greek letters.
It was some
Yeah.
people in their letters doing a thing, or doing a thing out there, right? So it just wasn't. I know everybody associates, oh, the women about to be mad, and of course, and I'm pulling it up, about some. There's a report of some women who attended Freaknik, and heard about this documentary that's coming out on Hulu, and I guess it's suing, and these women are supposedly, politicians and lawyers and like these prominent women, black women now, right? Like they like it's so it sounds so like I got to see the lawsuit. TLA, if you
Yeah.
got the law, if you could pull up the, I need to see. I need to see that this is the real thing. It's just
It's stereotypical. It sounds
it's
made
so
up.
stereotypical. It's so like, see, look at them. They,
But it's kind of like whoever you are. I talk like, but if I would have been like going out there during that time, I still have a certain level of, how I carry myself. It's not
Yeah.
gonna change that much.
Yeah, because even the lady that was the lady that everyone the video that everyone, she was saying like, listen, you might see me on the Freaknik videos, but I was fully clothed. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like,
I was
you're
out there
not
in the
gonna see
background.
me in a different light. So
Things definitely changed. Like I said, the 90s was the gateway to whatever is going on. What was it? Uncut? That was the show?
Yes,
BET
Tip
Uncut.
Yeah.
Drill and all that.
Yeah, because like if you think
Woo!
about the video
Everybody
girls,
turned up.
right? Before Corinne Steffens and the
Buffy the
wave of the
body.
new girls, like I was looking at like old videos of Escape, right? They had on over baggy overalls. It was, it's so different. It's so like
Aaliyah, you understand?
light
You had to have
years
your
different. So I mean, I saw the girls, at the Freaknik. They did have on the short shorts, but I think that was like open the floodgates of
And Rump Shaker.
yeah.
Now that was the
yeah.
problem they had on the high cut. Let me go and make like let's bring this up here, right here. The David Carmina show has the nerve to be from Baton Rouge and has never been to Essence Festival.
Oh wow.
How dare you?
In 25 years, I don't know how many years. When was 1995?
How
Whatever
dare
year that was.
you? You should go, David.
30 years.
They
That's
got you say you like the sisters. They down there. They
Yeah,
down there. Like I
they
said, they had the super lounge. They had all these little conferences.
yeah,
They
they
got
are.
Angela
They're
Bassett
trying
down
to
there talking
better
on the stage.
themselves.
Yes, they got
It's
these
like it's
wives and
definitely the black women's sphere down there.
oh yeah. Yeah,
I'm
yeah. They
done.
got all the empowerment
a
zone.
different caliber of women too.
Yeah.
Yes. But they will be
Oh
wearing
They
Lord, we
their
got
won't
white on
somebody
want
in
Sunday.
you
the
to pay
back,
for no
y'all.
babysitter.
Yes. We do have someone in the back. Which I want to get
Celeste, her
some.
line sister met somebody, met her husband. We got who we got? We have Lisa in the back. Y'all want to go ahead and pull her up because Lisa was active in the chat today, and we appreciate
Yes.
that.
Hey girl.
Welcome.
Hey,
Hey,
Oh
Lisa.
shoot. Lisa
Hold on
said
a
she
second.
about to spill the tea, honey.
Okay.
no, I want the tea because I want to know what's going on with Essence Fest.
Oh.
Oh, Essence
Why
Fest
is
is
it?
lit.
I know it's
Yeah,
lit.
it's
I've
just
been
like
wanting to go, and I know my parents have gone like maybe 10. They've gone a few times.
Yeah.
We love Louisiana. We love New Orleans, but I'm just
Yes.
like, is it that bad now? What's going on?
No.
oh
It ain't
no.
bad now.
No,
Bourbon
it's not. No.
Bourbon
Mm-mm.
Street is what it is. Now the
Yeah, Bourbon
festival
Street.
is
Yeah.
that's in the Superdome. That's a
Mm-hmm.
controlled environment. Now once you go out after that and you're walking up and down in the French Quarter, and you go too far down up in there, you're gonna run into all kind of stuff.
Oh
But
yeah, I'm familiar with all that.
yeah, so I mean
Mm-hmm.
it ain't. I think it's good. I like this.
No,
I
I've
love it.
thought I've never had a bad experience at Essence Fest. And even
Mm-hmm.
this, like I said, this past year I was surprised at the amount of men, but it was like a pleasant surprise. It was like, and
Yeah.
it wasn't Freaknik, right? It wasn't this like, oh, we're getting the wrong crowd. It was like, oh no, we're getting in our counterparts, if that makes sense, right? We're getting in like, I've always thought of Essence Fest as, black women, empowerment, black women, business minded, wanted to, betterment, like just trying, feel themselves, cook, all of that, right? And it's almost like it's like they brought in their, I don't know what marketing they did for Essence Fest for the men this past year, but that's how I felt. I was like, oh, okay, like to the point where I'm like at that time last year, like my eyes were open. I'm like, oh, okay, like we're outside today,
Yeah, it's like they want that movie vibe.
yeah, and
Yeah.
I think the movie probably had a lot to do with that, especially the pandemic, right? And bringing in, I guess, more a male crowd. So like I said, I went last year. I went, in 2017 as well, and I can't even remember the other years, but like, from 2017 to I went in 2018 as well. So let's just say 2018 to 2022,
Mm-hmm.
it was a drastic difference. Not drastic, but as far as men is concerned, it's still the same vibe as for women, right? You go into I went to the expos, I went to the concerts, good energy, good crowd. Janet Jackson, it was Janet Jackson, Mary, Jill Scott, and then last year we had
Yeah.
New Edition, Ronald Isley. I mean, it was just maybe more male acts
Mm-hmm.
that brought the
Maybe.
men in, and maybe that's what it was, right? And they
And you said
weren't
they
just
were old men, or like how old?
no, 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 like no,
Age
no, no.
appropriate.
Like they were age.
You said
They
Isley. I
were
don't
age.
know.
Now listen, if you're 22, 23, probably not so much, not
Yeah.
so much, right? I don't know
But
what
they
you're
had the
looking for,
right
but
crowd control and security and all
and they
that.
did, and it, and
Yeah,
it and it was very much
because they
so
can't let
that.
nothing happen to the brand.
Yeah,
Right,
yeah.
but like
Yeah.
Natasha said, you out in the French Quarter, you down Bourbon Street, at midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning,
You keep going. You keep
Yeah,
you know
you
what
don't
you're
going.
get
gonna
what you
get.
don't get. But
Yeah.
You
yeah.
know
You
what you're
keep
gonna
going.
get at
You
that
run
point.
to the people on the preaching about the
Exactly.
Bible
Concert
back
is
there.
over at this point. Concert is over. That's said and done. Now, after the concert over, you know what you're out there for. Right
Mm-hmm.
now, it is what it is. But I had a good time. I always have a good time at Essence. I don't know, y'all. We might have to go back this year. What y'all
I
think? Y'all want
really
to?
want to
I'm
go.
Come
with
on,
it.
Joy.
Really want to
Yeah.
go.
Come on, Lisa. Come on,
Yeah.
y'all want to go to Essence?
I
It's
am. I'm down because I haven't been like since COVID. So I haven't been
Like I
come
since
said,
on.
I
then.
went that one
Wait,
time
wait,
and I
Terry in the
enjoyed it.
chat, Celeste in the chat, David, you come on down too. That's where Lee need to do the meetup at. Just go on to Essence Festival.
What?
He
I'm
gonna bring all the men.
Hey, before I go,
yes.
I wanted to ask, NAllen, what parish are you in?
I'm from East Carroll. I'm from East
Oh, okay.
Carroll. Yeah,
Because
but
I
I
went
was.
to high school in St. Tammany Parish in Slidell.
Oh,
Oh, really? Well,
Mm-hmm.
I lived in New Orleans for a long time in East Baton
Oh, you
Rouge.
didn't?
And
Okay.
when I went to Southern. So yeah,
Yeah.
yes. So yeah, I'm from
I
East
went to
Carroll.
a college. I didn't go to Southern because I moved from Louisiana by the time I went to college. But I remember going on a tour there
Uh-huh.
in high school, going to Southern, and I think I went to Xavier too.
That's why I
And
went to
then,
pharmacy
like I was
school.
telling Joy, I was in. My family's from High Point, North Carolina, right next to Greensboro.
Oh
That's why my
High
wow!
Point.
Maggie's. My grandpa was a teacher, and so
Wow.
my
Is
father's in the
Fantasia your
military.
cousin?
That's why
See,
I know
No, she's not my
Fantasia.
cousin, but my aunt taught her in elementary school.
look at
But
that.
Okay.
everybody says she can't read, so I
I
don't know.
was
Oh,
gonna say. I was gonna say. I was
oh,
gonna
don't do
say.
that to your aunt. She did
Nah, not do
everything
that
she
to my aunt.
could.
But
Yes.
I feel like I'm an Aggie. I'm always
I
shouting
love
out
it.
Aggie pride. But
I
my dad
love
was in the
it.
military, so I didn't get the whole college experience. I mean, I went to college, but I had a
Mhm.
different experience than most people. But I got what I needed,
Yeah.
Mhm.
so I
Yeah,
just put it that way.
exactly.
Yes.
But I just
Exactly,
wanted
exactly.
come on here and just share because I enjoy y'all's topics and
Thank
y'all in my
you.
age group. So I'm not talking to people who look. What are you talking about?
Right.
Yes, we right
Just
here.
somewhere
We
in here.
know.
We
But
Yeah.
thank you,
I just
Lisa,
wanted
for
to shout
coming
out
through and
y'all.
coming up and talking with us tonight. Thank you
Yes.
so
Thank you
much.
so much. Y'all
You,
have a good
Thank you.
evening and
You
yes,
a
too.
great
Thank
show.
you.
Thank you.
it's one thing that she said, like, talking to people within your age group. It is nothing worse than you talking to someone and you're like, y'all remember this song? You remember this song, and they looking at you like,
No idea what you're talking about.
yeah, that was before my time.
No
Yeah.
clue.
Right? Like they could be like,
And then it's like,
it's
how old are
nothing
you?
worse.
You like, that's the next one. How old are you? Oh, but you
It is
still should know
good.
what. Okay, well, I guess not. That whole deal. That's
I was
crazy.
getting
That
my
was
hair done one day, and I was sitting in the chair, and I was talking to my hairstylist, and I can't remember who it was, but it was an R&B artist that was like we were listening to, and I was like, "Yeah, girl, you remember when so and so used to date such and such? They did? Oh God,
Remember when Bobby used to date
oh
Whitney? What?
God."
Or who is that? They might
Like,
be saying,
oh
who is
God,
that?
never mind. Don't worry about it.
It's the worst. It's the worst when you can't have like a comment. What's the name? A comment
Yes.
like understanding. That's why
Hmm.
I
My
try
Right.
to like stick around my peer group.
my sexy is strong. She's like, look, Celeste, Essence Fest is the place to be. Okay.
Okay.
Right.
It is. That is it.
Exactly.
She says, my sexy is strong. Apparently, girl, yes, y'all heard it
Listen
here.
now. Listen. Sing. All the single ladies. All the single ladies.
Right.
What? Yes.
Just based off my experience last year.
Yeah.
If it's anything, I'll tell you what. I'll tell you how we gauge it. We gauge it off of the lineup of the performances. Okay.
Yeah.
If
Either way, they
if the
still.
performances look like they may bring in a type of crowd, then we gauge it off of that. Okay.
I say,
Whether or
let's
not,
just go. Let's
It
just go.
is.
but I would say just go anyway because like I said, it's the time. I mean, whether it's men there or
It's an
not,
experience.
it is.
But
It
they're
is.
R&B acts for sure. Cause like
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking at
R&B
this
act.
thing that said it's talking about like the '90s, the '90s and the Essence Fest stage, and they're talking about Drew Hill, Destiny's Child, Boys to Men, 112,
That-
LSG.
that's us. That's us.
Yeah,
That's
We in
us.
there. That's we
yeah.
in there.
Look, the men in our peer group wasn't afraid to sing the R&B. You understand what I'm
What they
saying?
still was loving women.
Okay, the men
They
like
wasn't
listen,
fighting women like
35
that.
plus year old men was not afraid to tell me what you want. Okay, they just was not afraid. So if you
Okay.
say Drew Hill gonna be there, they like, yep, I know it.
Never make a promise.
Okay,
Oh my
so
God. Oh yes.
so
Yeah, that's
I
it.
don't know
Back
about
in the
today. They
day.
ain't doing too, they ain't doing too much, singing today anyway. I'll just say that. But if you 35 plus, I know you ain't afraid to sing that Fantasia when I see you in the shower. When I see you.
Yes.
The
And don't
men be
want
out
me
here
again, don't
singing.
talk to me. Yes. My
Okay.
sexy strong, she said she's never been to Essence
Come on,
Fest.
Terry, let's go.
That's,
Yeah,
we might
come
as
on,
well go
look.
load us up. TLA, where you at? Lisa says
TLA.
yes to all of
Lisa,
them. That's
come through. Listen, it'd be a whole mastermind.
okay. Okay.
Why not?
Bring TLA up on the panel. Let him talk to these women out here.
Oh, and listen, it's gonna be men there too. He could definitely get a spot on the stage in the expo.
He's
Why wouldn't
welcome.
he?
He's welcome. If
Of
he if
course.
somehow this thing manifests itself, you're welcome, TLA.
We said it here. So listen, guys. Y'all can just go ahead and hit him up right now. I know he's probably, sleep or something like that. But hit him up. Tell him we said it. The next meetup, I think he's. I mean, I don't want to. I don't want to stop what he's doing with his audience members. I think I don't know if I heard like Vegas or Colorado or something like that. But why not Essence Festival?
Why not? You could do them all. Both balls.
New
Do them
Orleans
all.
Mastermind.
That's it. There you go. You welcome. You welcome.
Done. We did
That
it.
that
He should
that
have.
that it'll run
He probably
itself.
should have asked us about the meetup in the very first place. I
I
don't
ain't,
know.
I ain't want to see it.
He probably
But
should have just asked us in first. Now I heard y'all had a good time in San Diego. My thing was, and I was coming, but I had just been in San Diego earlier to that, and I remember when I was there last time. I was like,
Shout out to SD.
I love it.
shout out to San Diego. So I heard y'all made the best of it. Y'all had a good time,
I
and it was,
yeah,
and
met a lot of people.
and I know you were out there, and I was supposed to come, but some other things got. But I'm thinking like now, like bring it on back this way.
Bring it down here to the real South. To
Bring
the
it to the
South.
boot.
Oh,
To
that
the
food
boot.
was so good.
To
Like
the
that was
real
the thing that I
South.
was looking forward to more than anything. Like I said, I saw the movie and I'm
Hmm.
like, okay, well, let's go, right? But when I got there, like I said, some of the women that had been there multiple times, they all had on their matching T-shirts with,
Of
their
course.
We
friends
got
was
to
there, like
coordinate
doing the
now.
We're
whole
gonna have to
thing.
coordinate.
Got to do that.
And they were disappointed that it wasn't the number of men that they had seen in the past, and they thought it was because
Right.
of the influx of people like me that ain't never been before. And I saw the movie,
Right. Here
and I
y'all
decided I
coming.
wanted to come. But I
Girl,
remember just being so excited about going to eat the food. That was it. I ain't care nothing about whoever the artist was. I was
Hmm.
I was wanting the food because they have
The
great food.
food.
yeah.
Food was awesome. Only thing
Mhm.
is I don't do swamp food. I
Yeah.
let the I don't do crawfish, I don't do alligator, I don't do frogs, I don't do whatever else they find in them swamps.
We doing this again.
We doing this again. I
Well, I'm
don't
gonna
do
tell
it.
you, Tiffany Haddish had me sold on that swamp tour.
Oh, the swamp tour. I'll do the swamp tour. I just
I
ain't
did
eating
the
the I
swamp
ain't
tour.
eating the
She
food.
had
I
me
ain't
sold. I was like, I gotta do it when I go.
if it come out the swamp, I'm not eating it.
Oh
Look
God.
at look at Natasha. Look at the face.
We got one more crawfish boil in us. I want all of it. I want the crawfish. I want the frog legs. I want them all. Okay, I'm gonna eat it
Now I
fried.
eat some boudin.
You want some boudin balls? Some
Yeah,
boudin?
I eat that.
Okay,
Of course, I'm
okay,
eating the oysters.
okay. How you gonna eat them? Are you gonna eat them raw?
I like them. I like them raw and grilled. Okay, I do.
Yeah, use it.
I never had oysters.
Oh, come on, y'all. Let's just go. We just need to go ahead and go. Come on, cause I want Joy to have oysters. I want I
Yes.
want her to have them raw. And well, I like when I come to New Orleans, I like to get them grilled. That's just it. I'm in Acme. I'm in
Yes,
what's the
Acme. Okay.
yeah, I'm at Ruby Slippers for brunch in the morning.
Oh,
We got a Ruby
Cuddle.
Sunshine, which is supposed to be a offshoot of. I was like, don't do that no more.
Now,
Just
why David talking about he not gonna wear the t-shirt? He need to stop.
why
David, you
would
got to
they?
wear the
It's
t-shirt.
not a trip. It's not a group if we not matching.
oh,
We
Right.
gotta wear the same color one day. We gotta wear the same shirt another
It's a
day.
theme. Every
And
day is
on
gonna be a
Sunday
theme.
we gotta wear our white. We gotta wear white.
A linen. The
Yes.
linen. Oh, it's gonna be so pretty.
Gotta be looking like Tyrese on what movie he was on when he was running on the beach. He had that white linen on. Even though we ain't fool. I guess Tyrese counts. I don't know.
Okay, you
But
got to stop saying that name. It triggers me. So I don't know what you're talking about.
oh, the singer, Coca Cola Tyrese, Sweet Lady Tyrese. Him, what was the name of that movie when he was running
On the
on the beach
beach.
with the white on? He had white linen on, like a little short sleeve, button up white
Is
with the
that a movie
pants.
or was that a music video?
No, even though he did it on lately too, he did do it on that video. What was
Okay,
that movie? I'm gonna think of it in a minute.
David.
You gotta be
David better come
matching
on,
up.
get on this
You
this
got
matching
to.
outfit.
Yes, yes. But what about this free? Oh, waist deep. Thank you, Nina.
Oh, look.
Deep.
There she
Yes.
go.
That's when he was running on the beach. He was trying to get his son back. Y'all know. See, now y'all doing me like the music. Okay.
My bad.
is that
My
what just
bad. And I
happened?
ain't even, we've
Is
been
that
we've
what just
been here.
happened?
That is
We
what
went down
happened.
like 4 flats.
Yes. I'm like, you know what I'm talking about. You on Layla. When was that? Was that
Huh?
late 90s? We have a lot of our good times and memories from the late 90s, I guess.
That
Yeah,
was late
When we
'90s
got
yeah,
though.
high
Trust
school.
yeah.
me. When Tyrese came
Mhm.
out, when that man hit the scene, it
That
changed my
Coca
whole.
Cola commercial. That was him, right?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Yes, it
No.
was.
Okay,
Yeah,
Yes,
it
it
that
was.
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 Okay. Yeah.
Okay, and it changed all of a sudden everybody just but whatever. Anyway, they just looking like I was good up until that point, and after that point, they were just like, "Why you name why that's your name?" I'm like, "You ain't think nothing of it until this man came out here and sang about that daggone soda." So
That's
I
true.
don't know why, and we are good in our teenage years. I don't know why that now it's just it's so
Tyrese.
it's just so
For some reason, I didn't put it together till now.
really,
Like Tyrese, like, oh, oh,
girl, I remember a guy used to sing behind me in high school,
oh, Lord.
singing. What was it? What's the lady?
Sweet
Sweet
lady. Oh,
lady.
that was
I mean,
my
he wasn't trying
song.
he was just trying to troll me. Sweet lady, would you? And I'm just like, really?
Sweet love. Oh, I used to love this song.
I had no problems up until that time. Anyway, I'm gonna leave it alone. Stop talking about Tyrese, the
The
little
You gonna be
90s
acting
crazy
was a
like,
kid.
is
good
that your
time.
cousin? You like, what
The
they got to
music
do?
ain't
That's
the
right.
same. I can't believe that our parents would tell us in the 90s, that ain't music. This ain't no real music. What you
Okay.
talking about? What? What you mean? It's
Now we like
amazing.
shoot. Terrell just did a whole. I think he did a video or it's coming up on drill music.
Mm-hmm.
He basically telling them we're not against rap. We're not against
Against the
rappers,
rappers,
but
but
we
we
are
are
against
against
those
those
thugs.
thugs. It's the yes,
Okay, he basically telling them kids the same thing right now.
yes.
Cause they hated our music, girl. They hated it. You hear
Yeah.
me?
But
And
They
now
was
it's kind of
burning it
like,
in
oh, you
fire.
had no idea how far we could fall.
right.
Go ahead,
And
you
now we like,
know.
ooh, I'm like, you like that? Why it gotta be so drastic?
I don't even understand what they saying.
You
Like,
really
what
do
is
Okay.
this
sound like
about?
somebody mama now
You ain't
saying,
gotta be against rap and you ain't gotta be against them rappers. It's okay to be against them thugs.
oh, wow.
Anyway, all right, y'all. Well,
Nobody else want to come up?
that's it. That's it. Look, I done dropped the link. I'll drop it one more time. But until then, how do y'all? Let me ask you a question. How do y'all feel when it comes to like Freaknik? Right? I know we got off on a tangent talking about Freaknik's auntie Essence Fest or whatever. But when it like comes to like Freaknik and kind of like just the things that kind of evolved from that, right? I think one of the things they were talking about, black women empowerment, like controlling your own body and being in charge of that, and then just other things. I don't know if that was like precursor for like Me Too, and then we talk about getting some type of I don't want to say revenge. It's not revenge, but when they come back and say, hey, aren't you the same one that was triggered on the headlights? Okay, job lost, right? Because now or whatever, embarrassment or whatever have you. How do y'all feel about that? Y'all think that should be a thing? I mean, something you did back when you were a teenager and or early 20s in college, and now 30 years later you getting pulled to the carpet for it.
I don't think so. Because and if I don't if they doing it for one, they better be doing it for everybody. Because I know a lot of them was crowd surfing on MTV during spring break.
Hmm.
And so
Doing
don't
Woodstock.
okay. No, you need to
Y'all
like
remember?
take me as I am like today. So, that's who I am. Like I mean, people have like it's like this is my work part. This is who I am at work, and that's a different personality. That's not my personality in my regular life. So I mean, I don't think people should be punished for that, but I do think people should carry themselves a certain kind of way. Like I said, now if I'm there and I'm standing on the side and I'm looking, it's like, oh, you were there, you're guilty. Like, is that fair? I don't think so, but you know, you do.
What,
People
what
do have
about
to deal with
even
consequences.
what about even like just decorum, right? So like, or just even in relationships, some of these people aren't married or anything like that, right? So if you ended up, let's just say you're late 40s, right, or mid 40s right now, you went to Freaknik in 94 or whatever, and there may be a picture of you bent over, with your waterfall curls and your hand on your hip, and maybe you had on some Daisy Dukes or whatever, right? Let's just say you was going to try to find like a man to date or something like that, and he saw this picture of you 30 years ago with your hand on your hip, you know, you think that should be held against you, or like it's like,
I mean,
should you
I
be
don't.
considered?
I don't think
Should
it
you be,
should be,
should you
but
be
it
considered a
probably is.
304 30
Everybody a
years
304. You a 304 period now to me.
later?
You can't do nothing. You a 304. Like you could be married, you could be divorced, you could have a child, you could be breathing. So I mean, you might well just don't
So
listen to me
that
because they say I'm the type of person
politician,
that keep people single. So I'm like, man, you might as well live because they're gonna judge you anyway.
right? That politician, those women that's suing the politician, the lawyer. I thought I pulled it up. I guess I didn't.
That fake.
All of these prominent, so quote unquote black women that are supposed to be um, suing Hulu for this documentary. Let me see if I can pull it up here. I don't know if you guys can see it. that big. But apparently these women are supposedly suing Hulu because of this. They may. I don't. It's not even out yet, so I don't even know how they know if they're on it. But they're saying, one, they didn't consent to having the video footage be put out there, right? So I think that's some of the grounds. But it's just like that. Um, I'm trying to figure out. I'm trying to find their credentials
I think
at
it's
this point.
promotion. It's just promotion. I think. Because
Because
like I say, if you're most people, if you're a judge now, I'm gonna say it just for example, the judge. She has not changed that much in who she is as a person from when she was in college at 20 something years old, right? Up until 40 something, almost 50. She hasn't changed that much. So if she was a twerker, like, I'm on my, twerking on a handstand or a popper, whatever we called them back then, you haven't changed that much. I don't think so. Because it's like, that's your character. That's who you are. Like, I'm
you
not that
are a
much
twerker
if
for
you're
life.
yes, like, and if you're not a twerker, and you are like, I'm gonna stand by here, I'm looking, I'm here, you still like that's who you are. I don't think the personalities change that much. You don't go from like it's very few people. You don't like people don't go from stripping to like being a judge. Like,
It can
do
happen.
they? I don't
I
know.
think it.
Yeah,
I think it
it
can
can happen.
happen.
It, but is it common though? Is it common?
I wouldn't say it's common, but I
It's levels
highlighted
to
here. It
fun.
says the group of women is comprised of one politician, three high-level corporate executives, and one judge. Supposedly, it's to me, it's just like this perfect story to say, perfect antidote to
That's what
this
I'm like. How
this whole
common is it?
Freaknik thing. So I do, unless somebody can pull up the lawsuit and see this. I don't necessarily think this is like that real at all. But I mean, it's like, yeah, I feel like, yeah, that can happen. Someone you were, when you were 18, 19, you might have been twerking on the headlights, but you was in school, right? You might have went to Spelman, you might have went to Clark at that time, and you were having a good time. And now you are maybe a lawyer or a doctor, or you listen. I know a lot of I know some lawyers and doctors where I was like, girl, I remember freshman year.
I mean, yeah, but a lot of like the politician type stuff though. Like, how common is it though?
I
Most people
mean,
be out here like
oh,
that.
I mean, I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying. Well, we'll see. I mean, depends on what they were doing. What they were actually, these particular women were like doing, right? They might have just been in photos and with their hand on their head and
Cause
some
that's how
baby
you
pictures.
pose back then
That's how
anyway. Like,
but your back arched.
that's why I'm like, it's only they could have been there. I'm not saying they weren't there, but everybody, I got pictures of myself like, I'm 10 years old, like that. People doing
Right.
jail pose. They ain't never been to jail,
Like
like
this went over.
that was the time. Yeah, while you down, like, you and your homegirl, y'all got your airbrush background, right? And your airbrush tennis shoes. And you like,
Yes.
that's how we doing. That's how we posing.
But I think the thing about this whole oh, I'm complaining, I'm concerned. The one thing that I learned from somebody, a gay guy, a long time ago, he was like, "Can't nobody spray you with your own tea." And effectively, you take the sting out of things if you be like, "Yep, sure did." Next.
Yep.
That's I tell on myself, you can't blackmail me.
Exactly.
What you know what I mean? So that goes back to like some people, they live these duplicitous lifestyles where they want to appear to be one way, but behind closed doors they're a different way. And that in and of itself is a problem. I don't have a
Hmm.
problem with you being 20 when you're supposed to be 20.
Right.
You know, okay, great. Next, like that's in my opinion, it's to be expected. It's only when you have put on this facade, you so phony and so fake that you want to appear to be so prim and proper and dainty when you ain't. You
Exactly.
don't cross your legs at your ankles. Stop it.
I mean, I do. No, I'm playing.
You know what I'm
I mean, I
saying? And,
do.
and that's my thing. So
But yeah,
what life have you been lying about? Who have you been
exactly.
lying to about who you are? Okay, you a judge. You a whole person. You put your clothes on the same way that I do. You know what I mean? You and that stripper, y'all shop at the same mall. It don't matter. You
Mm.
know, it doesn't matter. I think ultimately what we forget about is who are you at your core? What's your character? What are your values?
Mm.
What how do you walk and talk and hold your head today? But I don't agree with that whole like I'm gonna be somebody when I'm in front of certain people and then somebody totally different when I'm not. I don't like that because it
I
sets
totally
you
agree with
up
you.
for moments like this. You get on your high horse and you be all on the YouTube trying to talk down and shame people. And it's like, oh, you should have told everybody all your business up front. And then now it's like, oh, okay, we knew that. Next, who cares?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I totally agree with you on that one, Joy. I think that's what gets a lot of people tripped up is when they try to lead a different type of life or try to be, I don't want to say be better than who they are because people always try to be better. But I'm just saying, just looking down on other people, especially if you have been in a situation or been in that spot or understand that spot, right? And so when you making it seem like, oh no, I don't do that. I've never done that, and all of a sudden you have pictures of you, doing that
Right.
and maybe then some, then yeah, it's gonna sting. So just be your authentic self. Listen, you're not gonna find pictures of me at Freaknik because I was too young. I couldn't go to Freaknik, right? Though I probably like, oh, I want to go. I want Bakehead Bounce, but I wanted to be in the Bakehead Bounce contest. But seventh grade, baby, I was Bakehead Bounce queen. Okay, I'm just gonna tell you that right now. Okay, won that contest. But like, I did go to Bike Week. I you can still find me at homecoming, right? I've done a lot. I've been to Essence. I guess I've graduated from Bike Week to Essence or whatever, right? If you don't know about Myrtle Beach Bike Week, Miami Bike, all of that, whatever. Okay, but it's just like owning those things. It's saying like I started here. I was teenager, 20s. I started here, and I'm here now. You can take me for what I am now, or you can live in my past because I don't. You know what I mean? Not like that anyway, until we get on here and start talking about it. But it's that thing when you try to put up that facade like like you've always been this, or you're too this, or you start looking down on other people, then you can find yourself in a whole world of hurt when they find out something different.
Mm, mm, mm. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
scary.
Yeah, that's the only thing. I don't know. I've just always kind of thought it's better just to be honest about who you are. It's okay to have an evolution or whatever. Just acknowledge, you may not have always been this prim and proper, polished person that you're trying to present to the world. And when things inevitably happen, it's like, okay, well, that's fine. Next, we don't care. Cardi B wouldn't be Cardi B today if she wasn't honest in who she is. People love her because of who she is all the way through. She don't try to be somebody different on different days.
I wonder though. That's why I'm like, are people like that drastically different? Are that that's because I'm really finding out like I don't know people how people are like they're like this completely like it's one thing like I'm at work, right? But then I'm at home or I'm on YouTube, I'm around family and friends, like there's a difference, but it's not that much of a difference. Are people like, they two over here and they 10 over here, like they that completely different in their daily lives versus like who they present on like social media? Like it's really like that's a thing? And how do they maintain it?
I would if I was to say anything to that, it would be very much so anecdotal. I couldn't say that this is like the majority of people, but I mean, we see it. Politicians getting outed. Famous people
True.
getting outed. Living. Different types of lives.
That judge last
Um,
week that was
hmm?
on OnlyFans.
A judge on OnlyFans. See, girl, I don't even be. So it happens. It happens to these. It happens. You've heard it. Like, oh,
The
he was
fall from
supposed to be.
grace.
You
Yeah.
see, hear about pastors. You hear about all those things where people are portraying this type of to be this type of person, and then come to find out they live in. Now, like I said, I don't think that's majority of people,
No.
right? But we hear it enough to say like it happens. I would say.
Yeah.
No, I absolutely think, I mean, again, who you are when you are 20, 25, hopefully is not the exact same person that you are, 20, 25
I
years
hope
later
not.
after you've been married and have a couple of children. The things that brought you joy then may not excite you now. The things that, may have turned your nose up at then, you may find pleasure in, like knitting. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
you know what I mean? Like, Jesus Christ, if you see me in some wedges or some, what's them little comfortable shoes,
What
like,
matches?
somebody stop me.
And the
Like,
kitten heels.
yeah, like, them comfortable, them orthopedic shoes. Like, oh my
What
gosh.
The Crocs.
naturalizers?
Yeah, that's it. The natural, what you call them?
Crocs.
Naturalizers?
Oh,
That's
neutral.
it.
Naturalize.
Don't
Oh
worry
Lord.
about
Or
me, honey.
Clarks too. Yeah.
I'm gonna hang it up because, like I said, those are
Them
things that don't
sketches.
really appeal to me. But eventually, it might be my zhuzh. I don't know. It just that people change, and I think we have to allow for everybody to change. Now, one thing that, and I done said it on here multiple times, don't be trying to, get all in your feelings and me too, people now talking about how you felt violated 30 years ago. I don't want to hear it.
And Freaknik.
I'm gonna let y'all have that one. I'm gonna let y'all go and have that. On that note,
Don't I
Friendsgiving is
don't be
here.
trying to ruin people's lives. I ain't with that. No,
I'm gonna let y'all
I ain't with
have
it.
that one today, tonight. But and Alec, you close this out. Who we got in the
We
chat?
got Friendsgiving in here. She says, "Hey, ladies, y'all are looking beautiful as always
Thank
tonight. Go ahead and
you.
check out the '90s
Thanksgiving.
attire. I'm giving y'all the Argyle sweater vest. I actually threw on my rope chain that has nothing to do with
I
this
saw
outfit,
it.
but I just, just so
That's
y'all
90s
know."
girl.
We are against those thugs, okay? We
Okay.
got we got our girl Joy down here. She's giving us the Hillman vibes, a different world vibes. That
Okay.
they were also goals for people like us in the '90s. They were goals for us. We got our girl
Definitely.
Tyrese. What you got for us, Tyrese? She's giving us the airbrush Aaliyah vibe and the poetic justice
Aaliyah.
vibes. Okay, she's giving us the
Uh,
braid.
the braids
She's
and
giving
oh
us the
yeah, I
braid.
ain't see that.
Y'all ain't even know her. Don't call her
Yeah, I ain't
Ty.
see the
But
earring. Yeah, no. I
and a
tried to give
hoop.
you a little
Is this
90s
a bamboo
flavor.
or is this just we got a hoop earring, not a
Oh no, no,
bamboo?
no, baby. It's the no, no, oh, I'm
Oh,
sorry.
or at least two
It's the
pair. Y'all know
bamboo.
LL said that. That's what LL said. Yeah.
Okay.
We
I
always give y'all
tried.
those
You
vibes.
know, it's the bamboo earrings, at least two pair.
At least two pair. Y'all didn't even know her without, she always giving us her curls, according to the lead attorney, her flat top. But we call her Tyrese when she giving us her hair flip and the braids, okay? Y'all didn't even know who she was
I'm gonna
tonight.
stop
It was
because my good sis got them braids in there. She got them pinned up though. You might as
yes.
well go ahead and let your hair
Go,
down.
y'all know who it is. She giving us the Janet too. What's that other video where Janet got like, the white on?
Oh,
T-
really?
she's like, it's a poetic justice
Again,
song.
I
Again,
heard
I feel like, you giving me that.
something.
You giving me that.
when
Yes.
she
Yes.
said you were in town.
That whispering
Yeah.
self.
I love the 90s.
I
Okay.
know.
That's my favorite
I
decade.
know. It was
Take me back.
amazing.
Yes, Lisa says, good night, ladies and chat. Fun topic. Can't wait for the show to drop on Hulu. We all will be watching.
We
We should
gonna
probably do a
watch.
live
We should
stream
have a
Oh
on
watch
yeah.
that.
party.
Yes,
Watch it right
Friendsgiving.
here with y'all
Yes. She said,
and get
okay, 90s
flagged.
vibe. Love it. I'm gonna let Joy, she always does the benediction for us. So, guys, thank y'all for seeing us tonight at the
Thank
My
you.
Unsolicited Opinion podcast. We're gonna hand it over to our girl Joy.
Well, she just said it. Thank you guys so much for joining us on another episode of my Unsolicited Opinion podcast. We hope to see you again. Today is Saturday. So we'll see you back here again on Wednesday with another fun topic. We'll see what the news brings. If you guys have any suggestions, please let us know. Also in the comments, tell us your freak, neat stories. I want to hear them. We'll talk to
Okay.
y'all later. Bye.